Is it?
It is
All
7
right,
o'clock.
we are live. Yes, Owen, we are live. Yeah, welcome to Morelia Python Radio. It's been a long time since we've done a live show for Morelia Python Radio. Right, Owen?
I think. Well, when was the last one? Oh, the holiday show.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I forgot.
I don't know. And then I don't count your carpets and coffees. I'm not included in that. So that's just extracurricular, you know.
Yeah. So we have some. Oh, we got Graham Battison. Oh, yeah, he's in there from England. All right, he's staying up late to chat to see what's going on.
I refuse to believe that Graham actually sleeps. I'm pretty sure he just gets nourishment from blood pythons, like being around them, and then that's what drives him. And look, see, I got the Philly Herp shirt on, so.
Oh shit!
No shit!
Breaking out the Philly Herp.
My God!
Like, what's up, everybody? Everybody in the chat, hanging out. Yeah, we're going to be talking about. Let's see, what do we got on the agenda tonight? So
Nothing.
I know Nick wanted us to have an in-depth discussion on the validity of the gene. That's the face I wanted to see, Owen.
There's so many other people that are like better equipped for that crap. You want these? This is your choice. All right, fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll talk about my Ackies. And Nipper was wondering what the next naturalistic Viv project would be. Owen and I will talk about our season. Maybe we'll even talk about this lovely book, The Snakes of Arizona. That
damn,
it's a big book.
I'm glad you have that book because then you can read it from cover to cover. And then when we go to Arizona, I just have to make sure I'm next to you. What's that? Like, you know.
Yeah. And then let's see. We have a couple people wanting to know about some inland carpets and then a couple other things. But before we get into that, holy hell, man, we're getting bombarded with crazy weather.
Dude, I have six baby snakes that were purchased that are still here and probably will be here till June at this point because it's not warm enough to send anything. So this is the first winter in a while where we had to have that like turn off shipping until it gets like March or something like that.
Yeah, man.
I mean, last year I don't think I even stopped shipping. There was like, oh, this weekend it might dust a little bit, so wait till next weekend. But like I had somebody buy something mid-January and they're like, is it good now? I'm like, no. Is it good now? No. It's like I'm outside shoveling in knee-deep snow. It's like, stop asking. Like, no.
Yeah, I feel jealous. Lucas got his other rough scale from Nick.
Yeah,
because he could ship there, but I can't ship there because
it's California. I mean, you have to deal with earthquakes, fire, Riley.
Yeah,
like it's not all it's cracked up to be. Yeah.
All right, so let's just dive into it, man. So, how's the breeding season going for you? Let's see.
Terrible.
What's terrible?
It's
that does not make for good podcast.
I'm sorry. No one word answers. So it's. The issue is that the only clutch I have on the ground is the slug clutch from my Crebo. So that was a wonderful gut punch. And then everything else is not progressed yet. So we're in that wonderful, happy, like month and a half that happens every year where I'm like, I'm not going to get any eggs. Like there are going to be no eggs. I won't get any eggs. And like, that's not a horrible thing, but and then like come back a month from now when I'm like, there are too many eggs. Like it's make them stop. Like it's just one of those things where everything is kind of in limbo because the pythons are starting to warm up. The colubrids are starting to come out of cooling. So it's the ultrasound. The ultrasound works. It's helpful. I found one female that probably has a bunch of eggs in her. And that happens to be the rough scale python. But I don't know where I'm at in her cycle, whether those are follicles or those are eggs or where we're at. And she looks good, but we're seeing. I did see the slugs in the Crebo before she laid. I was hoping they were follicles, but no. And the Timor python was building last time I checked. So it's helpful, but it's one of those things of like, those could be follicles. Oh, they're slugs. shit. Like, it's like, okay, I saw stuff. What does that mean? So it's going to take me a couple of years to kind of dial in with that stuff. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully some stuff. I think I got one female that's headed towards the prelay shed. So that's the other part. So I'm trying to not. It's a jungle carpet. I'm trying not to get in my own way, because in my brain I have like, how do you gauge breeding and where you're at? I did that all before the ultrasound, and it's like, nah, she's clearly headed towards a prelay. It's like, well, if you took her and put her in the bin of water and took the ultrasound to her, you could figure that out, Owen. So it's, yeah, I don't know.
What's the time frame it takes you to ultrasound the female?
Depending on how wonderful the female wants to be, I can do it pretty quickly. I mean, otherwise, okay. You ready? Here it is. Your monkey is fake, and no one cares. And
I knew that was
discussion.
Coming.
Anyway,
okay.
All your monkeys, no matter where they are or what stupid name they have.
What's the Australia one?
Yowie. I don't care. Yowie. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it doesn't exist, because the monkey is fake.
Okay.
Anyway, just because sometimes the females will move around and they'll kind of like jerk around. It's hard to get a really a good contact. The good thing is that if you submerge them in warm water, that's a great conductor for the ultrasound. Okay. So you don't even need to be really that close or press real hard, and you can see what's going on in there. Usually takes them a little bit to settle down, but after they settle, you can really kind of get it in there. It's definitely a 2-person job. Someone to hold the snake. Somebody hold the snake. Somebody do, ultrasound.
Have you done the white lips or anything?
Yeah, I did the white lips. The one female, they're actually back together. I put the golds back together. I had separated them because the male took a chunk out of the female, and so I separated them. Oh yeah, it was fun. Zero walked by the cage, and the male just nailed the female and wrapped her up. And I'm like, great. So I had to.
What is it about them that you think makes them so like?
They're a-holes.
Yeah, but like, why? I don't understand what the advantage would be.
It never turns off. That's the problem with them, is that their feed response never switches off. So even breeding, if you go by the Blue Bible, it's like they drop down to, I want to say like they said like 60s or something like that, but then 90s during the day. So like the temperature fluctuation is just that extreme for them. So it never switches off. It's almost like a bread lie. Like like we've all had, like my bread lie right now are like 60 degrees, and the female nearly took my face off because she's hungry. So white lips are just kind of like that way too. So that's just what's going on with that. So they're almost a little bit more like you can't turn off the food response with them, which is why it says in the Blue Bible, feed throughout breeding season, to kind of alleviate some of that stuff. So basically Zero just walked by and the male just struck, and his teeth hit something, and then it was just rap, and that was it. So she had a female had a cut right behind her head, like right in that kind of thing area. That we pulled them apart, separated them, gave them a couple days. They both shed. I fed them both, and then I put them back together.
Look, I'm all for preserving species in the hobby and everything, but
this thing sucks.
They're fighting you tooth and nail. Like, what do? They're
like violent panda bears. They're like, they don't want to breed and preserve the species, but there's like violence.
We'd rather die.
We'd rather die and kill each other. It's like, no. So,
oh wow, oh geez, okay.
Yeah, I should choose easier species.
Well,
along with me.
No, I don't think that. No, you like the challenge, right?
No, I'm just a glutton for punishment. It's just like I should choose easier species. Ain't nobody had any problems with corn snakes, Joe.
Yeah. Okay. So what else? What else you got going? Is the olives team wars? What?
Olives are going. I mean, I caught them locked up a couple times. The females look good, so we'll see. Do
Do you think that you got them? If you produced them this year, do you think that you got them dialed in? Like,
I refuse to answer that question because that will jinx the world. So no.
Okay. Okay,
No.
fair enough.
No,
Okay.
no.
So you're going to say you don't have them dialed in?
I have no. I'm gonna continually say everything that I say every year. I have no fucking idea what's going on downstairs. Like it's. So it's just gonna be one of those. I was hoping for water pythons this year.
Yeah.
Female looks good. She just shed, so I think that might be a pre-ov shed.
Okay.
I was going to try to ultrasound her, but she's a bitch. So it just would be
that snake is.
I hate that animal.
That snake is not nice. Snake.
we literally found wild ones that were better behaved than that animal. So
that is very true.
This is true. Yeah. So I'm gonna try to see what they're going on with those. I'm hoping for the rough scales. And then Timor pythons, I have no idea, but they're constantly together in the bin. Together, like they're not like they're attached at the hip. They are together all the time. So I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Like I'll check on you guys in a couple months. Waters, olives, retics. What are we talking here? The dog's 11.
Lips, I think.
White lips.
I think white lips. How old are they?
I know I should know the male. The male was Dennis had him before I got him, and he's a captive born and bred. Waters? My female's at least 6, I think.
Yeah,
my male's
her for
3.
a while.
Yeah, I've had her forever. I traded a white lip for her. What's wrong with me?
Wait, you traded somebody a white lip python?
No, we don't want to. They would. Young Owen made horrible mistakes, which is why he went from 5 Timor pythons to 2. Like again, horrible mistakes. Should have kept all 5 of them.
Right.
Yeah. I do dumb things. Don't let me sell animals.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm hoping for the waters.
Okay. Hoping for the waters. Olives are looking good. Rough scales have something going on.
She's doing something.
Sure.
Yeah.
If it's slugs or eggs.
Listen, just
see,
if it's slugs, be slugs. If it's eggs, be eggs. Don't do what you did to me last year and give me hope. Like it just
give you eggs and
that's
then
worse.
All die.
Yeah, all of them died. Yeah, that's worse.
So I guess my question would be, like, I can't wrap my brain around how you balance breeding pythons, colubrids, like Asian rat snakes. And
oh God,
like North American colubrids and oh God, and squirrels. You know,
no,
now you
there's
got
no breeding of squirrels. He's neutered.
Oh, it's a neutered squirrel.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't let us bring him. When she contacted PA Fish and Game and defeated me, they said the only way you can bring the squirrel up here is if you got it neutered. Much to my protesting of all of this, that this squirrel was fixed. So once he's dead, there will be no more squirrels.
Okay, you say that now.
He's not here.
But she's probably listening.
Yeah, she probably knows. I'm like, wow, I might be sleeping with an eye open later. It's just, yeah.
Okay. So what do we got? What do we got carpet wise? What's on the docket for this season?
We have. Let's just go through the room. We have an albino to an albino. We have an albino to a het albino citrus tiger. Some tigers. Yeah, I know. A jungle to a red zebra jaguar. Those 2 projects are your fault.
A jungle to okay, all right.
Yeah,
red zebra. Oh, is that the one that hatched out at your spot? Okay.
Yeah. Then I got just a jungle to a striped jungle. I got a striped jungle to a ocelot jag that I got from you. I got the ghost thing that I did last year, the caramel exanic. Repeating that pairing. Then I got some super caramel stuff, and that's about it. There's only like 6 or 7 carpet pairs, so we'll see. Yeah,
this is just a little note for you, Owen. Squirrels are terrible.
They are. They're. I know. I know this. I didn't want this.
Oh yes.
He's a
Okay.
jerk.
Is it really like crazy?
No, I mean, but it's not like a chinchilla that like sits there and like you can pet it and feed it things. It's everywhere at once. It's all over. It's a squirrel. Imagine a dog on some sort of speedball where it's just like, yeah, like, and that's it runs all over your body because it just doesn't want to sit still. And they have really long claws because they're used for climbing. So it's one of those like later when you're going to take a shower, you're like, why am I bleeding? Like, and that's because the squirrel was running up your
Okay.
Yeah,
You don't go for the squirrel. All right, no worries.
Mammals.
So you got the carpets. What about your colubrid stuff? When does that kick into?
I pulled the blue beauties in because I talked with a friend of mine who actually produced them last year, and we were going through it, and he goes, "You're not getting them cold enough." I'm like, "Okay, so be mean to the beauties, got it." And I chucked them in with the corn snakes and king snakes, so they dropped to like 55. I'm like, cold enough? Like that ought to do it. So I just pulled them inside, and the female is refusing food right now, and they're together. So I'm like, those are plus signs. So I'll probably try ultrasounding her in a little bit, see what's going on with that. I had to pull apart my blonde hognose because they were killing each other. Like they were biting, both of them were biting each other. I may have to double check to make sure I don't have two boys.
Is that the first time trying to breed them? I guess.
No, it's the second time, but like last year they were totally fine with each other. This year they just started biting the hell out of each other. So I don't know. The speckled hogs aren't doing anything. I want to give them. I think they need to bulk up. They need to be a little bit bigger.
So I always wonder, like, when you're breeding and you have a pair and you kind of put them together and you're trying them for a couple years or whatever, like at what point do you think you should sort of like wonder if you got a pair that is compatible, right? Because especially like with species like white lips and other, like those, but I would imagine that it could be where any python.
Well, the problem is that like if you try it and you pair them together the first year, never expect anything to go well the first year because it's one of those, who the fuck are you? Like it's like it's not going to be. You just want everybody to kind of get along, and if they're eggs, sweet and great. The following year, your second year is when you really kind of expect things to kind of go well. If by the end of the second year there's no eggs or no attempts, like you don't see him spurring her, they're on the opposite ends of the cages, then it might be time to mix it up. Now, the problem is that we already know by talking with people like with Ryan, white lips and certain species take a long time to adapt to shit. To like scrubs and things like that, where it's like you take it, if you breed it the first year, congratulations, that's never going to happen again. They need like 7 years. They need time to get into your routine. They need all this other stuff. And like I said, you may accidentally walk into a clutch and get lucky.
Sure.
But you may not be able to repeat it year after year. Right. So it's difficult. So now, when do you call it with a white lip, knowing full well that a white lip needs more time?
I don't know, man. I think with those projects like that, it definitely would pay to have more than just a pair, right?
Yes.
Because then you could sort of get a feel for if it is the pair or, is it,
plus it also
something
helps,
that you're doing in the room? Is it something you're doing with them? What would be?
And it helps to raise them up from young and do it like you would every year, even if it was an adult. Like, I won't put my baby carpets through winter. I don't need to. I put my white lips through winter. I put my I put my black face, even though I don't have a girl right now. And I put my younger male gold through winter.
Okay.
Screw it. You're going to need to learn that this is what happens. So, it's just one of those things that you kind of have to give it a shot for. I would also say that certain things, like I think blackface white lips are, when people think of a white lip, they think of a blackface white lip. And then they get a gold face white lip and they try to make the gold face white lip as big and as bulky as a blackface. And that's not true. There's like, they're thinner and more agile. So I think I've broken every single gold face white lip I've ever had. So now I'm finally at the point where my male is the perfect body tone for his size, but he's a big male. So now I have a female that's great body tone for her size, but she's a little bit smaller than him. So
Right.
we will see. She might get too afraid to breed with them. He might bully the hell out of her and breed. I don't know. So we'll see.
Right. Okay. And then, so where were we? I mean, you were talking sort of about your hog nose is where you kind of left off. What else do you have?
The speckles aren't doing dick because I think the male needs to get a little bit bigger.
Right.
And then the Madagascar hogs, the giants, they're cool. I'm cohabbing them now. I'm pulling a Riley. They're doing great, and if they breed, cool. So
Right.
Oh, and
Okay.
the rhinos. I have no idea what the fuck the rhinos are doing.
Oh, you're going for another season with them.
Well, yeah, I'm cohabbing them, so it's really up to them. I would really hope they breed. If they don't, then they're going back in bins back downstairs. Because
So wait, this is the pair that you have up in the what do you call it?
it's a trio.
Oh, you have a trio in there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't.
They're
I
not
haven't
big
thought you had-
snakes, dude.
Yeah, I know. I always forget that. Good. Let's see. We got a question here. As we're going. Let's just say, could they just be older breeders to not just letting adjusted? Could they just be older breeders too, not getting
well,
adjusted?
yeah. I mean, I would say that there are a lot of snakes that people have issues with that are just older breeders. Because I mean, dude, like my one pair of olives are 2011s.
Yeah.
Like, and I got them to breed last year, so
Right.
it's like some of them just take way longer to mature.
Yeah, especially species like that. They definitely do take some time. Okay, and then is that it that you have? I feel like you have more colubrids or something.
Well, I mean, I have the Cal Kings, I have the Blue Beauties, I have the pine snakes, I have the white-sided black rat snakes.
Okay,
I think that's it. Nothing else is big enough. Like the Chinese king rats aren't big enough yet. The Eastern blacks are still very tiny. Oh yeah, and I have corn snakes too.
Right.
Whatever. Oh yay, another clutch of corn snakes. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Like they're just need to be way older than we think. I think I would agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Brandon was saying.
Yeah. I would say that, if it doesn't go if you don't get breeding the first year, don't despair and burn the project. Grow them a little bit more and try again. Like it's
I think my question was just geared towards like, obviously with some of those species, you have some that are very mate selective. Well,
let's put it this way: if the white lips aren't killing each other, they're curled up together. What sense does this make? Like it's
right.
And that's white lips. We're not even getting into like Papuan pythons and blackheads where it's like there's a danger. Rings.
Yeah,
like
man.
I have a ring python. She's a vicious killing machine. I'm like, breeding you is gonna be fun. It's like okay.
She's a feisty firecracker, that one.
Yeah, well, I gave her like arboreal shit now. So now she's coming at me from higher. Like it,
Which that just boggles me, man.
Doesn't make any sense,
never
right?
would take that as a species that would be arboreal,
well, it's
like ring pythons.
They're in
but I guess they are.
What to a certain extent, probably. I mean, if they can support them. So I have them in that 15 quart rack, and she's right above the rainbows. So I go through her, and she's up high on the perches and coming at me on high, and then the rainbows are buried underneath the paper, and I'm like, "Oh, where are you?" And that's when I get bit by the rainbow, not by the ring. So I don't know. So
Graham had some advice: pair them when they're deep in shed.
I actually, if you go to my goldface cage, you're like, Owen doesn't clean shit. I'm like, that's not true, but both of them.
I swear,
both of them shed. I swear, I clean. Both of them shed, and I just left both sheds in that cage. I just let them in, and I threw them all over. Like she shed all over the hide box, and I'm like, cool. Be comfortable. I want you to lay eggs there. And I just left his right in the middle, and they've been kind of, he'll come out and bask I
Right.
won't see her.
Right.
But then he'll go into the box with her. So I
Right.
don't know if she's just staying put and he's doing his thing because he knows
Uh-huh.
how to do it. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. So
female deep in shed won't eat the male.
So, that was something that I noticed as of late. I've seen a couple people say that like the best time to introduce the male is right after they shed. Have you
Right.
have you practiced that? You've done that?
That's what I did with the white lips. That's what I did with the white lips. They both peeled. I fed them both a small bird meal because that's all I feed the white lips at this point because I don't want him to get huge. So he's on a completely bird diet. And then I introduced them again.
Okay. So yeah, let me back this up. Graham's saying that a female should be deep in shed. She will probably not eat the male, and the male will be more likely to approach her. So yeah, there you go. Oh, and Owen, we must talk about the falsies. How are they doing? They're cool snakes.
They're awesome snakes. I made a very a bad mistake. I was in a rush and I'm feeding everybody. And the false water cobra, I just usually leave their food on a piece of cork bark in their tub. And I opened it up and I dropped a couple fuzzies in for my male. And he came flying from out of a cork bark tube. I did not see him come from anywhere. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Like, and it was one of those where I'm on a step stool. So now I'm falling backwards. And so this false water cobra that's probably about this long, nearly killed me without biting me. I blunt force trauma. So,
oh man, that's crazy.
But they're awesome. I love them.
So for me, this season is kind of weird, right? Because I am breeding majority spring breeders, right? The big ones are my diamonds, and I didn't produce them yet, but so far it has to be the easiest thing that I've ever done. You just sort of leave them alone.
You just don't touch them. All right.
I guess this is what colubrid people feel during the wintertime,
Yeah, I plugged in the Herpstat for the first time and it was like, please reset everything. I'm like, okay. Like it's just because I unplugged it at like I want to say I unplugged it in October.
Wow. Yeah. It kind of feels weird for me, man. I'm not like, so there's a couple of trains of thought. Why am I not breeding any like other carpets or anything like that? So like this year for me, I didn't want to have a whole lot of babies that I had to worry about get going because I want to get that other half of my garage done. So then it becomes like the other part of, I guess my room, if you will,
the expansion pack. Yeah.
Right. And so it's always good when the wife is supportive and she sort of gives you carte blanche with certain things around the house. And she was saying that downstairs, how I have sort of that entertainment room, if you will, like right outside this door.
Right outside that, yeah, where we were going to put the colubrids. How is she about the second floor near your bedroom?
That's what I was going to say. She's like, you should really have some snakes down here and some nice setups and nice enclosures so that people, when they come, they can look at it and they can see it and they can appreciate it. The problem is that it's right by the door, so during the winter it gets cold and I'm sitting there thinking, I said, I bet you I could put some mountain king snakes here.
Yeah.
I could put like, some of
just go indigo. Just do it. Just
indigo.
Do it.
Well, could you do indigo? Because I guess you could, right?
Of course. It's just like
cold
that,
for them, right?
That whole wall there is one indigo. And then you can put some other stuff. Like, totally.
So I was thinking like if I got like, maybe like 4 or 5 nice enclosures, maybe 4 on top of each other, just highlighting a nice North American colubrid. As weird as this sounds, what I really like to do? I'd like to get a nice big enclosure and set up like DK snakes in that and just watch them.
The shit that's outside?
Yes. 100%.
You had me and then you lost me. It's like,
well, I'm thinking like enclosure size, like you can have a fairly, it doesn't have to be a huge enclosure.
Are we allowed to keep the case?
I don't know.
You should check up on this before you're rated.
I'm just thinking about that. Cancel that. Forget it.
Double
Stick
check
to my mountain kings and indigos.
I don't think it's going to be a problem, but maybe just double check it.
Well, how come you can keep corn snakes then? You can't keep black rat snakes in PA?
Black rat snakes you can keep, but they have to be you have to prove where you got them from. Like my black rat, like I sent the list of all the animals to my license for my breeding license, and they're like black rat snakes. I'm like,
wait, you have on there rough scale
all the other shit. They're like,
you
the
have all
fuck
these
is this?
Australian pythons.
Yeah, no, it was just the black rat snakes. And I'm like, they're white-sided black rat snakes. Genetic mutation. You probably didn't take these from the wild. I'm like, I did not. They're like, okay, it's fine. Like, Jesus. Like this past time I put the Eastern Black Kings, I'm like, am I going to get in trouble? Like, it's like, I did not.
I'll have to double check that. I've never really looked into, I know that there's certain Pennsylvania snakes. I know in my actual township, you're not allowed to have venomous. So that makes that easy for me.
You know what's funny? Chris lived on the other side of 611 and he had a ton of them. So
okay, well, that works too.
sometimes you're breaking shit. No, it's so what is it? PA regulation, you're allowed to have one copperhead per person.
Yes. Same with a timber. You can have a timber too. Yeah. One timber.
One timber per
you can
person.
collect it. One timber.
One timber.
One timber per house.
Per person. Yep.
Right.
She has babies. You got to let them babies go. It's like,
I think you can only take a male. I think it can only be a male. So you have to sex it, which that should be
you have to catch it.
A whole lot of fun. You have to catch it, sex it. And if you're still alive,
you get to keep
you can keep it. Like what the hell?
This state is stupid.
Yeah. So, and then hedgehogs. What is it? Hedgehog, flying squirrels, hedgehogs,
flying squirrels, and sugar gliders. No.
Yeah, you'll just get killed. You'll be tarred and feathered.
They will kick in your door, shoot the dog, take everything. Did diamond python loose enough find you?
I don't know, man. Something just jumped. I'm thinking like, shit, is something out?
Is an Aki loose?
Okay. So diamond pythons is what I'm really focused on this year, and inland carpets, right? So I didn't put any of them together yet because I was like, okay, maybe I'll start warming up this weekend. We just got another foot of snow.
I'm like, dude, I was getting ready to do that too.
10 degrees.
No fucking point. Yeah. As your computer systems are like, nah, like trying like really hard to ramp it up to get it up 2 degrees. Yeah. No.
I don't know why we can't have hedgehogs. It's the strangest thing, but
it was because there was some report that
salmonella.
No, European hedgehogs could potentially survive in Pennsylvania. So rather than distinguish between European and African hedgehogs, they were just like, no, like it was just like, all right, none. So that's the rumor, at least.
Okay.
But we have a Nile crocodile.
That is true. And, I was watching, I don't know, one of those Planet Earth shows, and I was watching this Nile crocodile, right? So me and Dory are watching it, and she's like, this big, huge crocodile just shoots out of the water and tries to get these birds that are like, trying to get water. And she's like, oh my God, that thing is so big. I said, well, that's part of the Hamburg starter pack. She says, what the hell is that? And I was like, well, when you go to the reptile show in Hamburg, you get a Nile crocodile as a parting gift.
Well, now it's a Morlitz. I mean, it's yeah. There's not many Niles, but now it's a Morlitz and what's the starter pack? A Morlitz, a Gaboon Viper, and a crocodile monitor. Retic, right? Yeah,
retic. You need a retic.
You need a retic.
It's got to be a mainland retic,
and you have to walk around with it at the show around your neck, going like it's so friendly, and then you take it home and it warms up, and then it hurts you, and you're like, I don't want it anymore.
Right. Mm-hmm. You let it out at Owen's Park behind his house. So I asked Graham, I thought that was interesting that he said that Tracy Barker swears pairing it when blue, not after, right? Because I've heard some people say, like we just talked about, right? So she says, I'll put this up here. She says the female is far less likely to flee when she's blue. The male is more confident and my God. Help me out here, Owen.
Nope.
And the fluid between what the hell
is loaded with pheromones. Yeah, so it's got them good juices.
Plus they're not usually so hungry to keep a meal. It doesn't become dinner. Okay, All right. Well, she would know, right?
I guess. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Our winter breeders. I'm in the UK. Just got eggs last month. Well, I probably shit the bunk on them.
Well, that's done now. Done.
Oh,
Fuck
well.
that up. Yep. No more. Shut it down. No
So
diamonds this
Ian
year.
is saying that his breed in the winter. Okay. I know Justin, I believe, bred his. No, was it Justin? No, who was that? Wasn't Justin. It was Chuck Poland. He bred them in the winter. Yeah.
I want to say, what?
Remember, it was like that first year on MP where they put out the thing, and it was like everybody said, "Oh, they only breed in the winter. I mean, they only breed in the spring." And then Chuck like posted this picture of them on eggs, and everybody's like, "What the hell? The book was wrong."
Again, it's one of those things of like, there are many ways to skin the cat, and if that works for yours, fucking do it every year this way now. Like, it's. I mean, I have success in my bread. I don't wait till June.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, it's the diamonds and it's the inlands. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I should put them together as soon as we get off this show, and see what happens. But more than anything, I'm excited about the diamonds. I think that would be cool to produce the diamonds. Yeah. So I have a reduced pattern diamond that I got from Greg Heim, and the female is a San Diego Zoo. Line. Most I've read says spring breeders, but she's I guess I wonder if Ian did he have them has he had them for a while? Maybe they're just in the rhythm of his room.
Hey, if it works, it works. Like, I mean, what was it? Didn't Lon get like water python eggs in like October? And I'm like, what does this mean for everything? Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, the more and more you start to look at it, the more and more you think like our ideas of.
There are always exceptions to the rules. So no matter what the rule is, no matter how many other people do it this certain way, there'll always be one or two people that have their animals do it differently.
But so yes, this is very true. So I got the diamonds. I want to get them going because I want to build them some nice enclosures on this wall and kind of redo that and everything. And I guess sell those AP cages that I waited 2 years for.
just cut a hole in the AP cage in the floor of one and the ceiling in the other, and then it'll just go up, and then it'll be like, yeah,
right,
fine, trust me.
Okay.
No.
Well, what I'm really really loving is the Ackies, man.
Yeah.
They are freaking cool, man. Cool.
I have a sickening feeling in the pit of my stomach that you're going to get a Kimberly rock monitor, and then I'm going to lose you to some lizard people. No,
I always love snakes more than lizards, but I dig the idea that it's like a monitor but in a tiny package, right? It's like easy. Yeah, I know.
It's a Nile monitor that somebody shrunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so cool,
manageable
man.
size. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, and here's the thing. They get very popular with a bunch of people. I don't know why they're more popular as far as like a pet. There's always the idiots out there that want like a Savannah monitor, a Nile monitor, a blackthroat monitor, this, that, and the other thing. Why not just get some Ackies? Like they're two of them could easily live in a 4-foot enclosure.
Right.
If you really wanted to do it up, get them a 6-foot enclosure. Really have some fun with it. But instead, what they'd rather do is get one monitor, buy some sort of like insert for a shower, build some sort of giant monstrosity down in their basement that barely gets any heat, and the thing dies anyway.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. As far as monitors go, like, I mean, they're pretty much the answer to that kind. You still get that fix of the monitor, but you're able to have it in, like mine's a really cool enclosure. I can't wait to give it a bigger enclosure. It's all.
Are you a little bit upset now that we went to Crocosaurus Cove and saw all the different colors that you can't have?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I had to go back and look at the pictures of those because I was like, wait, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
So I am quite fond of the yellow ones. I know like the red ones are sort of the more sought after ones from what I see.
I saw a pretty one at Oaks this past weekend, and it was a red yellow cross.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Nice.
Is that a no-no that you're not allowed to do? I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know the rules, man. I don't know what the rules are. They have legs, so I don't even care about breeding them or anything like that. I mean, if they breed, that's great, but to me, it's not like that's not what they're about. But definitely different than keeping snakes, though, right? Because you got to pay attention to them like every day. Did I lose Owen? Did he freeze? What's going on here? I guess Owen is frozen. Should I remove him and bring him back? Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. All right, well, I'm just going to keep talking until Owen's just going to look at me with that stupid look that he gives me like he's mad at me or something. But yeah, the Ackies are really cool. I noticed, I was talking to Rob about it earlier, but at night I didn't think that they would come out at night.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. You just froze. I started talking about Ackies and you gave me that look and it just froze.
It broke, apparently.
You froze again. Oh, there you are.
No, I'm right here.
So yeah, they were hunting at night. I thought they were Bigfoot got them. Yeah. I thought that they were diurnal. I didn't think that they were would hunt at night. But
I mean, are they small enough that you think maybe they would do hunting at night just to make sure they're not going to get killed or eaten by something bigger? But they not
maybe
a diurnal hunter?
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm digging them. I think as far as Nipper was asking, what is the next naturalistic Viv project for me? Probably for me is going to be some kind of Aussie gecko.
Oh no!
Yeah,
really?
yeah. Just. I really like I can't ever say that right. Straforus.
You can't have it if you can't say it. Right. Yeah.
Right. But I like knobbies too, and especially after the show last week, we're talking with Justin.
That's
and then
a dangerous thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Salemi sent me a video, which was wild. He did this time lapse video of his knobtail. And when the lights went out and the thing came out and hunted for like 2 hours straight, it was wild. Yeah.
All right. That's crazy. That's cool.
Owen looks like an Alaskan Riley.
So Alaskan Riley just has hair. Is that the only difference between me and Riley? He's going to cry now.
Well, that's
poor bastard.
Oh, that's great. Lucas is taking a shot. He said, I'll die of thirst if I can't have what I can't pronounce because I can't say water. Water.
Well, yeah. All right.
So earlier, there was a question about, we've talked about this before, but I guess we'll just hit on it real quick. Gamma.
Yeah.
What is Jay was asking to talk about the gamma, and I'm assuming he's from Australia since he said that they don't really have that down there. So basically what the gamma line is it's a diamond jungle jag.
Yep.
And I guess the guy that's most well known for establishing that line. So there was a guy in Canada. His name was Jeff. What was his last name? Something with an F. Fafelli. Something. I can't remember. I can't believe I can't remember that. Yeah. Anyway, so Morelia Trophy Club.
Let's say that's where I go is just straight to Morelia Trophy Club. So
because you can't say Battaglia, John Battaglia.
That's not. That's kind of.
That's it.
It's that I don't think when I first started, he was the only guy who had them. Like like John was having them all on MP, and he was
on MP for him.
Yeah.
So this was this line of jungle jag that I mean, they are neon yellow. I mean, they're just crazy, and the line is pretty consistent with producing amazing animals. What I've noticed, and probably, well, let me back this up. Probably the person that's working with them here in the U.S. At the moment that's really taking it to the next level is probably Martin.
Yeah.
From Martin's Morelia. But yeah, he basically he breeds his to jungles to intensify that yellow. I did a pairing where I bred them to a diamond jungle, and it didn't come out as, as great. I mean, they're still nice, but they just weren't as insane as some of the stuff that Martin's producing.
Well,
so
and
I
that's the
think the
other thing
key
is
with
that-
that line is the jungle.
Well, the other problem is that jungle jags themselves, without mixing diamond, have kind of caught up. Like I have that jungle jag that you gave me from Charlotte.
Yep.
Take that thing back. It's a monster. It eats everything in sight, but it's growing.
Is it yellow?
Slowly. Oh yeah. That's the thing where it's like, if you took that animal and plugged it back in like the early 2000s, people would automatically assume it's gamma, just because that's the color, the brightness of the yellow, and that's the color of the yellow.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody was all about with gamma, was because at that point everything was about making jags brighter yellow and reduced pattern.
Right.
That was it. So yeah. So I think that's just the way it is too now, where it's like it's harder to push something up that hill a little bit higher because everything else is caught up. It's like how at one point you could only go to like 3 or 4 guys to get really bright yellow and black jungles. Now everybody, I have yellow and black jungles, and I am a coastal person. Like, I don't understand. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah. And so basically I bought my gamma directly from John.
Yeah.
That is one of the only jags I have in my collection is that. And yeah, I just keep it because he's just a pet, I've sort of, as everybody knows, I've moved away from jags. I gave them all to Owen.
You held out on me. You kept the gamma jag. You sent me with the rest of the shit. I see how it is.
I told you.
Yeah, I see how it is.
I sat there. Yeah, okay. When you were in the room, I'm like, I'm keeping this one.
I'm keeping this one. I'm like, all right, fine. Yeah, I know. Right. He'd be wasted over here with me anyway. I would not know.
That jungle jag from Charlotte has to be.
Well,
that has to be nice.
Well, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I need to start like figuring out the freaking jungle projects and what I'm going to get rid of, what I'm not going to get rid of. I don't need this. I don't need that. And then you drop that thing on my lap, and I'm like, fuck. I need this. Like, I need to keep this one and this one. It's like, yeah, because she's just like, that thing is gorgeous. So
yeah, she's a nice snake.
Well, I'm hoping this year I produce some striped jungles to keep back and start a striped jungle project, and eventually bring her into it, and then get some really nice jungle jags, but then also get some really nice striped jungles with some bright yellow.
So, one of the things I saw, so I've always thought that, again, I'm not against jags. I don't I'm not anti-jag. It's just, for me personally, it just became too much for me to just watch my snake be upside down in a tub. I've fed them, I've bred them. They shed fine. They do everything fine. So everybody else can have the debate on whether or not, they should, keep them or not, but as far as that line is just specifically just just whatever reason. The only thing I wonder is as you breed more generations of those and you get farther and farther away from using a direct gamma animal, do you still call it a gamma? Is it where do you go with that? That's tricky. Right?
It is tricky because here's the thing. I would say it falls under the same thing as a tiger. But the problem is that stop. I know. Listen.
Okay.
Tiger.
All right. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
It should fall into the same basis as a tiger. But the problem is that the word tiger has now taken on a completely new meaning.
Okay.
Now almost every single striped jungle, every single striped coastal is a tiger. It's no longer if you can trace back to Jason, which most of them can, but now nobody cares. It just is a stripe, so it clearly is a tiger.
Well, I would push back on that a bit because I know I'm just thinking of people that I deal with that work with stripes, right? And I think Billy Hunt is one that comes to mind.
But there are
right
people
away.
who care about it. So there's Billy Hunt and people like that who actually really give a damn and know the difference between the other ones. Everybody else is just going to call it tiger.
So you think that if it's a stripe, your average person is just going to call it a tiger?
Of course.
Okay. Maybe I'm just not around those people. I don't know.
You have to get down into the slums where I live. Like,
sorry,
you gotta stop living your fancy high life and come down to the dark side of town to where I am.
Right.
And that's where you'll find it. So,
right.
I would say that's that. So I would say that how many tigers nowadays can trace back directly to Jason?
Mine can.
So can mine.
Yours can.
Is that because we live near him? Like, it's like
could be.
But there's got to be other people out there that have tiger projects where it's that they're about 3 or 4 generations removed from Jason's original line.
So I guess what you're saying then is that it's like gamma in a way that it's from that line, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right. So if you have a gamma line animal, you can still call it a gamma line animal because that's what it is. But
if it's like, what if it's only like a percentage of gamma?
Then you have to label that percentage. And of course, it's not going to be as good looking. So if you're working with a gamma line project, after a certain amount of time, you got to plug a gamma, like 100% gamma line animal back in. Otherwise, you're just going to go way out there. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I follow what you're saying. I don't necessarily. I kind of look at it as like.
Listen, in Owen's brain, we got to go from point A to point R to point B. Then we go back to A. Then we circle around a couple times. Then we finally get to B. Like, you got to get there. You got to follow me. It's a big fact.
I just like, to me, the one person, like I said, that I see doing consistent stuff with the gamma line, right, is Martin.
Right.
And his stuff is as good or better than what John had.
Right. Because
like, he's taking it up a next level. My fear is that, and I sort of see this sometimes with tiger stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Just because and this is where it gets confusing for people, because sometimes you have animals that really aren't striped, but you're calling it a tiger.
Tiger. Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, that's a tiger. It's like, well, is it?
Yeah, well, then like, there's a double edge where it's like, that's a Peterson stripe. It's tiger. No, it's different.
Yes.
Yes. Are we working with hypocoastals, Eric?
Yes. I have hypocoastal projects. Yes. I have a hypo caramel, and I have a hypo female.
Are they breeding?
That pair.
My God, no.
They could. I don't know. I felt like I should take this season off. I don't know why.
No, just listen.
I'm going to make you feel like what I felt with Ruffies.
No, that is not fair, sir. I tried.
Sure it is.
No, it isn't.
I tried too. I just don't feel like doing it.
No, that is a different thing. I tried and I failed. You're just like, I'm not going to breed them this year. No, you make the hypos for me. I don't care about other people. Me, right. I want the hypos.
Hypocoastals I will say this, hypocoastals are definitely different than caramels, right?
Yeah.
I have seen where it's sort of like, I would consider it like this. It's sort of like the resemblance you see between a Darwin and an IJ, right? They look the same, they look similar, but like when you really look at the details of the two of them, they're definitely different. To me, an IJ looks like a jungle with a jungle or a coastal with Darwin type colors, whereas a Darwin carpet is different to me, in my opinion. They look different. But
okay.
What?
Nothing.
Oh, that's not nice.
Nothing. Nothing. I just want them because now it's like
Darwin's.
No, Darwin's.
No, it's like,
Darwin. He's an idiot. Like, I don't know. I don't want to breed with the female. You useless bastard. Like, it is I want hypos because I've seen what the hypo tigers that Paul put out that Nick showed up and stuff like that. Yes. I've seen the hypos that Jason Balin and Eric Kohler did in that joint project with I forget his name and I'm sorry. It was a three-way project between those three guys.
Right.
Anyway, I saw those animals in person. They're gorgeous. And just if younger Owen would have, sold his car and bought a couple hypos, like, no, I'll get there. It'll be fine. But I'm excited to get them eventually. So, yeah.
They're cool. They're definitely
Well,
cool.
then
The thing I like about them is they still kind of look like a carpet, right? They still have
What
that.
would it look like if it wasn't a carpet, Eric?
Well, I mean, the pattern is very carpet, very coastal carpet, if you will. It's just the color. You're just busting my balls. I see what you're doing.
Well, I will say,
son of a bitch.
I would say that it looks more like a Woma. What would you say to that? Like, no, it's. I would say
I'm going to exit you from this conversation.
Just to kick me out. Yeah. Back in the
remember,
old days,
I have the controls.
The soundboard again. Yeah, I have to behave again. But it's one of those things where I think that the pattern with a super caramel gets more washed out, and you don't see it as much. Where with the hypo, it's there, but it's kind of emboldened. It's the contrast, and what carpets really excel with a shit ton of contrast on them.
Yes, yeah, they really pop, and my caramel hypo pops, right? So I can't imagine. I know that Ian was talking about the super hypo, super caramel that Paul has,
Jesus.
and wow, holy shit, that's next level. And
I want to get that level of hypo into Exanic. So I want to see that level of hypo mixed in with an extreme level of Exanic to get the best looking ghost we could possibly get. Show me that animal.
Yeah, probably what they have in Australia is probably.
That's what I want. They're pretty.
Yeah. They have really nice Exanics in Australia. That's for sure.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought was cool, we were talking about Jags there for a minute, and we are talking about breeding and all this stuff. So I'm going to share this picture real quick. And
we can do that.
We can.
It'll take an hour and a half, and we may accidentally hang up. Everybody just stare at him until he does it.
So that's an Atherton line carpet python.
Atherton line jag?
No jag at all.
What?
Yes.
All right. Derek Rowdy. Okay. Yeah, this all makes sense now.
So, I mean, that just shows you what could be done.
We're in white screen mode now.
What?
Nothing. It's just.
We'd rather this screen.
No, it's fine. This is good. Stop it. Stop touching things. I mean, Derek's been working with the Athertons for how long now? What the you dick?
Oh, this is what you have to do. Go ahead. Talk, Owen.
No, I'm not gonna now.
No,
brother.
No.
I don't want to. But I mean, how long has he been working with Athertons? For a while now, right?
Oh God, since the 90s, I think.
So is that just a building upon a project of reduced pattern to reduced pattern to reduced pattern to eventually hit that animal, or did that thing just pop up?
I think it's just been he's just bred them over and over and over again to bring it to that to what
is it a genetic mutation or is it just a funny pattern?
No, just reduced pattern carpet. That's all.
Well, if you could get a jag without the Nero, why not?
Yeah,
I mean, and the genetic part of it, but it's a gorgeous animal. Like it's so that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. Jag came up. I figured I'd throw that out there. It was something that I saw. I thought it was worth mentioning. So there's that.
I'm hoping to get some caramel Exanic jags this year.
Caramel Exanic jag. Okay.
Yep.
That you produce?
Yeah. No, I just found them.
I didn't know if you were buying them or producing them. And I don't buy snakes. I'm Owen.
Snakes, I make them.
Yes.
It takes me 18 years, but I get there.
We need a meme of that somewhere. I like Owen just throwing around snakes.
No. No, because there are people that
I don't
may
buy
actually.
snakes.
I don't buy snakes. Like there may be actually people on this call who could do that call. What the hell thing?
What? Make a
Shut
meme?
up. No, that's not a call. It's a whatever. It's a live stream. Whatever you kids are calling it these days.
Oh, good God.
Sorry, I'm tired.
This has gone off the rails. Oh, dear. So as far as diamond python breeding, right? Let's get back onto that. I know we're kind of jumping all over the place, but let me just finish the thought of what I'm doing. So basically, I let them get I limit the length of time that their heat comes on, and that's basically it. So, I think right now we're starting to go back up. I think, what was it, like maybe 4 or 5 hours? I give them a heat a day. It's 50 degrees down here. It's freezing. I have to crack the window at some points. It's like crazy. I can't, it hurts every being of my soul to have a python at 50 degrees. I can't,
dude,
it's hard.
It should hurt everything. Like I touched my corn snakes the other day. I'm like, oh my God, you're cold. Oh my God, I'm killing you. It's like, no, wait, no.
Well, here's the thing.
Yep.
Here's the thing about diamonds, though. When you touch them, they're warm.
That's because they're that. Right? That's because they're dark. Dark snakes absorb the heat.
Yes. It's pretty.
If your snake is a dark color, it is from some of the hellish, harshest places on this planet that are for reptiles. I mean, diamonds, white lips. I mean, I even think that indigos in certain areas, that an animal that big needs to be dark. Otherwise, it's never going to survive where it's at. So,
well, when you think about rat snakes, right?
Yeah.
It's the opposite for us that it is in Australia, right? If you look at carpets and you look at rat snakes, so rat snakes go up our east coast. I know there's rat snakes throughout the U.S., but I'm just talking about the ones that are.
Yeah, we don't care about the West Coast. They don't count. Anyway.
Right. So you have the ones that are on the East Coast, right? And in Australia, you have the same thing. Carpets kind of go up that whole East Coast, right? Yes. But the lower you go in Australia, the colder you get. So the lower you are, the carpets all become these dark black snakes, right? Like diamond pythons.
Right.
And then where we're from, which is the, farther north, the rat snakes turn black. They're born
gray,
normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gray. Right.
Yeah.
And then they just change.
They turn black as they get bigger. Yeah. Because they need to warm up. So it's a reverse. You know, they get darker as they travel more north. Yeah. It's upside down. So
yeah. Carpets and rat snakes, North American rat snakes, to me are like kind of like the same niche, if you will, right? Would you agree? Am I wrong to think that way?
I wouldn't. It's like just like how I think when it comes to my Asian colubrids, that they do so well when I do nothing with them and just keep them like I would a North American colubrid, because they're pretty much in the same kind of area. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Good job.
So yeah, and basically as I'm going to start to bring it back up to the normal 8 hours of heat, if you will, and a warmer ambient temperature. I sort of use the outside environment. That's why I'm sort of like in this sort of hold right now, because to get your snake room down to 50 degrees, you sort of have to, have no heat in your snake room and then sort of let it go back up. So, I think that's where, if I was designing a diamond python cage, I think that's where I would use the radiant heat panels for the actual ambient temperature of the cage and just have sort of a spotlight for the basking spot. I think that's going to be the approach when I design the cages, right? So then I can use the cold, but then if I want to start to bring them up, I can control that with the heat panels. So that's going to be what I'm going to try. So I guess once they start to warm up, I'm going to feed them a couple times and small meals, and then I'm just going to throw them together and see what happens. Apparently, you're supposed to just ignore them, and then they give you a clutch of eggs. If she does lay the eggs, I'm going to go maternal incubation and see what happens. So
your first clutch of diamonds, you're going to do maternal
Hell
incubation?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, why am I surprised?
I'm not afraid of that. Come on. We got to do it. See what it is. See those little diamonds
I don't gotta do shit. Like,
popping out of that clutch. Oh,
yeah.
Shit. So hopefully I get them.
Reduced pattern too, so that'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how that shakes out, right? So there's no reduced pattern in the female, right?
In theory, yeah.
She's from that line, and San Diego Zoo line has thrown I'm just hoping that I get some diamonds I can send to Lucas so I can get some blackheads.
Yeah, I have to figure out what Lucas wants so I can get some blackheads too.
Yeah,
I don't
if
need
he just wants
blackheads.
cash, I could do cash too. But I figured he might
I'll
want
put
some.
Eric in a box and ship him to Florida, California. Why did I say Florida?
Right. Yeah, we can go there too.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the diamond python situation. And Nathan Barreto, he asked, in carpets, does anyone keep them in the same room as their diamonds? For me, eventually, I'd like to get that way to be able to do that. So I would have inlands, diamonds, and bredli in this room, in the cold room. That's sort of the.
You're gonna need some more cages, buddy.
I know. I'm probably going to have to move. I'm probably going to have to move this upstairs and do that.
MPR
in
studio will be with the lizards.
Yeah, and I'll have a lizard room too. So,
well, that or you'd have to cut back on the library.
Yeah, I can't cut back on the library.
Yeah,
man.
so
look at that library, man. That's
that shelf. Yeah,
man, that's a lot of
books. Yeah,
yeah,
that's Eric's retirement plan. He's going to start selling them. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'd like to get some, real nice enclosures for the diamonds. I probably am going to cohab them. I think that's
it's almost like if you're going to do diamonds like in a really nice big enclosure, would you do like what Cody Bartolini does? That big kind of oak glass, that'd be badass.
Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's sort of the idea. So who sent me the question about? So it was Dylan, I think, sent this question, and it was finding a balance between natural and easy to clean plastic plants versus live plants, substrate versus paper, logs versus shelves, etc.
God,
yeah. Do you have an approach that you try to make that easy to try to balance that? Like,
I try because right now, I have mulch and stuff, but then I have plastic hide bins. It's
right.
It's like mulch and maybe a piece of cork bark, but then there's this giant black bin with a yellow lid, and that's their hide box and stuff like that. So you don't necessarily have to find one or the other. I mean, I would say that plastic plants, like what I have in my rhino cage, they never wilt. I don't have to water them, and they're perfectly fine as is, and they're looking good, which is good because the rhinos still use them all the time to hide in and live around, and they're not crushing them or packing them down. And then I would say it's a bunch of mulch and a bunch of other stuff. I would say that the naturalistic stuff definitely looks a lot better when you have more naturalistic stuff around it. So if you're making a display cage, go all out. Get the hides that look like rocks or cork bark tubes and this, that, and the other thing. If it's just going to be for in your snake room and you want to give the snake a plant to hide in, it can be a fake plant. It can be a normal plant. I would say that fake plants are actually sometimes more expensive than an actual plant. The ones I was looking for, a plastic fern, like the one that I got kind of over here. They were a shit ton, and that thing was at Lowe's towards the end of the season for $5. And
oh wow,
I planted it, and the monitors tore the shit out of it. But when I got rid of the monitors, I put it in a pot, and it's gotten huge over the year. So actually 2-3 years. What if her cats ate my plant? Anyway, it's just son of a bitch.
Focus.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding.
I'll have to deal with that later. But it's just one of those things where natural live plants are going to be cheaper, but there's the downside of that your snakes could roll them over. Didn't you try to plant grass in one of your Burmese python cages or something or you put plants in there, right? When you had the big ones? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was horrible. That was horrible. I mean, that was back in the 90s though. So that was, oh my God, that was bad. So
I'll also know your snake. I don't think if I put a plant in with my carpet pythons, the only thing I'm going to have is a dead plant and a carpet sitting on top of it. It's
Yeah, I think for me that question comes down to this, right? You gotta figure out, are you going to be a breed? Is your focus breeding or is your
Keeping.
focus keeping? Right. So if your focus is breeding, you want to
Most
try to
downstairs.
do things as efficiently as possible, right?
Right.
You want to try to make it as easy to clean. That's not saying that they don't get stimulation from hides and perches and stuff like that. You got to find that balance to where you got to be able to, because if you're breeding, more than likely you have numerous
Cages,
animals, and whether you're keeping them in big racks or cage, however you're keeping them, right? If you want to use mulch because you feel that that species that you're working with likes to burrow or whatever, you see them sort of do those, if you observe them doing those kind of things, then yeah, I would probably keep mulch. But I would think that mulch would probably be easier if you're cleaning fast because you can spot clean, as opposed to if you're using paper, you got to take everything out and redo the whole thing, So it's just about finding whatever works for you and however it works and whatever works for the snake. If you're a keeper and you're not going to do breeding, or maybe you're just going to do a couple pairs here and there or whatever, but your main focus is just keeping them in these nice naturalistic, then I would just go all in, sort of like what Owen's saying, I mean, but I wonder, I get nervous though with the bioactive stuff, because I don't know, man. Sometimes you're introducing those things, and like, how do they have? I don't know, man.
Setting up bioactive. If you have a display cage and you want to do bioactive, fine. If you're going to be a breeder, and you're trying to seed every single bin with bioactive, you're going to drive yourself insane. I will say this: that when it comes to things like colubrids, big flat pieces of cork bark are amazing, because it's almost like flipping boards. Like, it's just like, aha, there you are. They seem to tend to want to go under those things, and a lot of times, like people who do monitors and stuff like that, they don't want the big flat pieces; they want a tube. So it might be a little cheaper. Like, all my colubrids love giant flat pieces of cork bark because they go right under it, dig around, and just kind of chill.
Yeah. See, I think, and this would be my opinion, I think that if you're using plastic plants, to me, I don't think that the snake is getting anything out of a plastic plant, because I think what the snake would get out of the plant is it would help with keeping, if you have pothos, like if you're putting pothos in there, I would think that it would help with humidity and, the air in the enclosure, and just, I don't know. I think they're not going to be looking at the plant and being like, oh, that's a plant, I feel good now. Oh, that's plastic. How dare you put plastic in enclosure?
Like I have
it out.
In my rhino cage, it's a giant plastic, like it was almost like a hosta or something like that, big leaves and stuff like that. And it was a big plastic plant. So I put those in there so they hide underneath the big leaves and stuff like that, and that's where they like to be. So it's just one of those things
that is
where
true.
It's cover. It's not necessarily something that gives them humidity and this, that, other thing, but also the rhinos don't really need it. So it is a great cover. And also all those sticks and stuff, those rhinos never touch the damn ground, dude. Like, I saw one down on the floor today.
Right.
And I'm like, are you laying eggs? Because normally you guys aren't down here. Like, it's just one of those things where if you give them certain things, they will use them, especially if it's cover or branches or something like that.
Right. Yeah, I didn't even think about the cover part of it. So Summer brings up a good thing as far as and that makes sense, because what the heck is his name? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. The Scrubbot guy over in Ireland. Why am I drawing a blank with everything tonight? We've talked to him multiple times. He bred the oxables. Thanks, Owen. It's gonna freaking stare at me like, can you hear me? Is this on?
Hello? Yes.
Lawrence, yes.
Just everyone.
His scrub setup. What?
They can't help you. Like,
thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yes, thank you, everybody. Obviously, my co-host has left me out in the lurch to
watch you. It's like when we did live and you drop off, and then I have to be like and quickly say shit. Like, yeah, no,
right. So if I just walked away all of a sudden to get a glass of water, you would be screwed. Yeah, well,
I won't be okay. Yeah, I'll start reading from little books behind me. So.
Hello, my name is Owen.
Hello.
Anyway, I think he did use a lot of like artificial plants. Now that I'm thinking of it, he did use a lot of artificial plants for scrubs to take cover underneath them. So yeah, I guess they would use that for that.
I mean, I used what is it? I went to the Halloween store and they have all the fake vines and stuff like that, and I bought a ton of them. Like, it was the weekend after Halloween when everything was like $1, and I used that for a while. Just as good cover and vines and stuff like that, until eventually the snake started going between, like, it was almost like a plastic chain link. They started trying to go between them, and that's when I threw them all away. So,
we have somebody joining us, Owen.
No,
see, you'd start acting like a bad co-host, and I bring the real guns in.
Who is this?
What's up,
hell, dude?
What's going on?
Yeah, what do you think of this, Rob? He's just leaving me out in the lurch.
I don't know.
Names.
No.
I can't remember anything.
Rob cannot judge on anything that he doesn't see firsthand. Because,
dear.
Yeah. You always make me look bad in front of Rob.
This is true. So yeah, I don't know. I think that anything that you provide, you just have to find that balance of look at Rob's setup. He doesn't really use any plants at all. He uses all cork bark, and they're living quite fine in that type of setup.
Rob uses cork bark, and then he has internal lights and stuff that shift on to day and night. So, completely different than some of the people that I know who breed. And he has great success. So, yeah.
All right. What else do we got on the list?
I don't know. Are we going to debate the Owen Pelly scientific thing? Because Rob's actually here, so I'll allow him to do that. So,
no, I mean, I can't pronounce the two names. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this.
What is it? The Nyctophilopython? And Narawan, yeah.
Narawan, yeah, okay. So Nick was asking, he wanted an in-depth discussion of the validity of the genus of names. And basically, from my understanding, and by the way, I have to throw a plug out there. If you did not get a chance to listen to From the Ground Up with Dr. Zach Loafman, I think it was just this past week. They talked about taxonomy. It was great. It's like one of the best podcasts I've listened to in a long time. He's really, really good. I liked it a lot. But he was talking about like our misconceptions of keepers or herpetoculture and what our misconceptions of taxonomy are, and like how he was sort of showing the perspective from the scientist's point of view. But basically he was saying that, whoever named this first, right, that's what you sort of have to go with. And if I'm according to Scott, right, how do you say it again? Say it again, Rob. The
Nyctophilopython, I think.
Yeah,
Nyctophilopython. To make sure that's right, but it's definitely close to that.
Rob, is there a class I can go to learn Latin? Like, how do you know this Latin? Like, where can I go to learn this?
Well, I did take Latin for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. So that doesn't hurt.
Okay. Okay. You got an old textbook that you can send me or something?
Just go, there are a million other, go get Babbel. There has to be one for Latin, right? Or whatever those
people don't really speak it. So that's the other aspect.
Right.
Someone was talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it becomes a little bit dodgy and all that. People get more wound up into it than I do, for sure, and they're not wrong. It's just a question of whether it's going to be a hot button issue for you or not.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. Nyctophilopython. Yeah, that's what.
So that's the first name of it. So if they spin them off onto their own thing, we have to go back to the first name that they were described.
Correct. That's the rule,
and
right?
I guess the question for Scott becomes that it actually wasn't even the first genera assigned for that snake by Wells and Wellington. So in '84, they called it what? Australiasis.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right.
and
All
then
right.
in '85, it was Nyctophilopython. So yeah,
You just reply to
Wow.
Nick that we're doing the Australiasis, and then he'll be like, "What now?" Not really. Nick probably knows all, but it's.
But
just
the
tell him that's what
Narwhal,
you said.
that names just sounds so much cooler. you know?
Narwhal.
Yeah.
sure. And
Sure.
the concept, right, of what it represents and all being the indigenous name for the critter, and
Yeah.
I totally get that. I think what this really comes down to, because undoubtedly the Wells and Wellington stuff is first, is whether you take the description as being sufficient to constitute what it is, because then priority clearly exists. And I think that's Scott's take on it, essentially, is that it's a valid description. It's the first valid novel genera name. It doesn't go into Python, where it was first, into Morelia, where it was second. Why
Right.
it's not Australiasis, I'm not sure. You'd have to, Scott can better speak to that. But it's not certainly not a law of priority. Just the concept of priority in scientific naming, right, is what would obviously then give that priority. It's just a question of if it's a valid description, the first valid description, putting it into a new genus.
Right.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
So it's not really about, oh, do we want the name that suits maybe best in terms of the basis for it, the indigenous name for the critter and stuff. I think we would all kind of have a soft spot to that naming convention, but
I would. Yeah.
in terms of the laws of taxonomy, so to speak, the real question to me is just why Nyctophilopython and not Australiasis?
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't know it was not until you brought that up that I even remember.
We took a perfectly good question and made it worse. Just like all the other things we do on Morelia Python Radio, it was a valid question, and then we threw more wrenches into the mix. It's okay.
It's like take a sad song and make it better. You know what I mean? So, black white lips.
Oh my god! And go ahead.
So Jeff was saying, he's saying about how taxonomy is frustrating, but like, what are black white lips called right now?
I know what I like them as, but I don't think that's the appropriate thing right now. I like them in Herpetoculture.
Oh no, he's talking about the species name, I assume. So did you see that Dan Natush's Instagram post of a black white lip, and he'd used Fred Parker, I think. So
yeah,
really,
as opposed to he who must not be named, right?
Let's say it 3 times. So if we monitor, we're okay. Just make sure you use it at the right moments.
I'm okay with just not saying it at all. But
it works for me. Yeah.
I think to your point about Herpetoculture, I don't know. I don't recall what he had used on as the tag on his post for that. To me, that makes a lot of sense.
It does. And it makes sense to have rings and white lips together, because a ring python is just a funky looking white lip. Like it just makes the most sense to me for those. But and then, like, it also would like Team Wars it with retics. But I think that was, I forget whose paper that was that split everybody out like that.
Yeah, I'm with you. So much. Why are we talking about this? Is not that.
Yeah, this is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, like it's not, and it's certainly not positivist. Because so much it's all politics, right? It's the politics of whether you're a lumper or a splitter, and this gets into be your view on taxonomy or locality or mutations or any of this stuff, right? But
I
don't know. So it's just kind of the politics of where you fit and what you want to say, and frankly, everyone probably says something different, and it doesn't seem like the animals care too terribly much.
I think they rely on not doing that. Like, I don't think it really matters. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know. It was on the list. Somebody wanted to say it. I am not in.
Nick's starting trouble, dude. He's not even here. He's starting trouble.
Well,
Yeah.
Nick, he's definitely a taxonomy guy. You know what I mean? That's sort of his evolution and all that kind of stuff is sort of his forte. He loves that stuff. So, and I understand, you can geek out about it and understanding what the history is of them or how they evolved and all that stuff. But
it's
it's just going to be a fight,
But I don't care that much.
Right.
It doesn't affect me what I'm doing, what you want to call it. So I don't care.
Right.
So, yep.
Yeah, I agree. It's like one of those weird things, like, yeah, what does it matter? It's just
like
our weird ideas of how we categorize stuff, so.
They're all just a guitar, man.
Admittedly, when I see people say, oh, it's Gonyosoma oblongeri, that, an aneurysm threatens. So
slowly.
I have to,
he does have limits.
Yeah, I suppose just on that one particular thing. But other than that, I'm pretty open-minded.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So Nipper wanted us to sort of. Did you dig into your Snakes of Arizona book yet, Rob?
A little bit, yeah. It's crazy impressive, man.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. I didn't realize there were so many snakes in Australia. Oh, I mean, in Arizona.
Arizona, dude.
We did know there were.
Put an A on it.
We did know there were a bunch of snakes in Australia. That's why we keep going.
You put an A on it, and I just want to go right to Australia.
Yeah. I like that you guys do the research, and I'm just there to keep like large birds from carrying one of you away. So I don't really have to do anything for these trips. I just got to show up. So.
Got to fight him back. It's like when the guy, punches the kangaroo and stuff.
Have to keep Eric safe. He's got the camera. Oh no, Rob has the camera. Yeah. Damn it.
So I don't know. I mean, it's so big. This book. It's talked about it before.
That is an encyclopedia.
Yeah, I mean.
And the pages to the price value is that ratio.
It's just crazy,
exceptionally high.
Yeah,
it was $55 or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, it man, I love how it gives the environments and stuff like that, and then as far as the species, it sort of gives a description, color and pattern, distribution, abundance, habitat. Predators and parasites, diet and foraging biology, behavior. Rob, maybe you would know this. And it keeps going, reproduction, remarks, acknowledgments on like each species, which is why it is. Has there been a lot of studies on U.S.? I would imagine that there is on U.S. snakes. Right?
I think so. I don't know how much of that stuff is easily accessible. Right, in the sense that a lot of it's probably graduate work, to the extent that there are either herpetology programs, Kansas and stuff, or if it's just associate under wildlife bio or whatever. So a lot of it's probably in the vein of what was the famous unpublished carpet thing that then Justin requested through the university and all that.
Oh, Taylor's thesis.
Thesis, right. So there's probably a ton of stuff that falls into those boxes that maybe we aren't even aware of. But certainly, look at the references section on that book, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I'm not going to be able to make it out to Texas with you guys for the go around again. They put the final nail in that coffin. But I'm trying. Yeah, I know, right? I'm gonna send Rob with a cardboard cutout of me that has pre-recorded sayings, so that you can just like stand it up and hit a button, and I'll be like,
That's appropriate.
Yeah, something. That or just you have to FaceTime me the entire time, even while I'm like working or sleeping. So, but I'm trying hard for Arizona just because I think that'd be a really great trip too. So
just the rattlesnakes 100%. Alone.
Yes.
I'd love to see,
and it's only partially because I want to make Nipper cry. Only part why that
right.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
What do you think?
Well, and in some ways, that's the novel trip. It's always cool to go back and things we've learned and all that. But for you and Arizona will be new for all of us. That'll be awesome. So
something new.
Can only make one. Hopefully, that can be made to work.
Right, and then when you come up here, I'll definitely try to get out with you guys out here too. So just slowly die behind my desk. Anyway, it's just
Yeah. That's the one sucky thing about Facebook, man. You see all these pictures of places that you've been over the past 5 years, and most of the stuff that I post to Facebook is places that I've herped and stuff, and I'm like, it's snowing again. I want to just get out in the.
I mean, I feel like if I turn to her and I say I should have moved to Florida, I think she'll hurt me, like this week if I say that. But it's slowly in the back of my head. So
right.
I'm like, I could be herping right now. What's wrong with me? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same deal with the Arizona, the Rattlesnake Solutions folks on Instagram, and seeing them posting pictures where it's like, the beginning of January, and they're still pulling rattlesnakes off people's porches on a daily basis and this stuff. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Is there a particular species of rattlesnake you want to see in Arizona?
So Willardi are my favorite rattlesnakes. So the
Willardi, okay.
Yeah, the nominate Willardi that are there would be pretty cool. We might make it over to New Mexico. I don't know, in range for Obscurus, Willardi Obscurus, which would be pretty cool. So. Yeah, those at price high are super, super sweet too. But really, it just seems like there's so many different species of snakes and lizards. Certainly. Imagine seeing a Gila monster, man.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Please God. Cool. I don't know. I kind of want to do. I mean, I kind of want to see prairies, but I will take anything. Like it's like how when we saw the one when we saw the Western in Texas, I was just like, it's awesome. It's like, we got one. I'm like, I don't care. It's like, that's.
Yeah, I think totally the weather was just off for it. That's why I'm so excited. It's such a bummer that you're not. That's why I'm so excited to do it again and all this stuff, because it's like, think those same spots and similar ideas and all this stuff. I think it's to be much more productive.
Yeah,
it was oddly cold, and especially at night. And I think even those nighttime temps would have been okay if it had been warmer during the day, but we had that cloud cover that was keeping it really warming up to then cool down and pull stuff.
Really hoping we were going to find a rock rattlesnake when we were there. Because I think that would have been cool.
Man.
Yeah, that would have been cool to see. So that, I mean, you and I were itching for like hognose and freaking gray bands, and we got nothing. It's just like, yeah.
And it's just a bummer, in terms of the prairie rattlesnake. It was a bummer that, when I took Justin out there, before we went to pick you guys up, we saw one.
Yeah,
but then when we went after he had left that last day, then it was just so cold. The same thing here, but even more so than Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That last night was kind of chilly.
I'm not going to be there, so you guys are going to hit everything. You're going to be like, there's so many gray bands. It's like, just be a little bit pissed off. Like, just so you guys know, every picture you take kills Owen a little bit. Like,
that's
like Punch Out on Nintendo, right?
Exactly.
It's a little accretionary.
I'm surprised you don't have those, Owen. I'm surprised you don't have gray bands. Yeah, there's such a. To me, that's such a. I don't know if it's from King Snake Forum. I don't know, but it's such an iconic North American species to me.
But that's the problem.
So, to me personally,
so they're in the back of my head,
right?
And let's put it this way: they're like, oh yeah, there's always something I kind of would want. But if Rob and I were like, or you too, Eric, because you were there, if we were on like the cut and we found like a pair of like gray bands that I know for a fact they came from this mile marker and this thing. Why? Because I pulled them out of the rocks myself. Fuck you. Yeah, I'd take them. Like, I was thinking about taking that. We found the gopher snake on River Road, right? Was that on River Road?
Yep. Okay. Up by Redford, so pretty far to the west. But yeah,
right. I was thinking about that, but it's like that's cool and all, but I was really hoping to walk away with a good pair of gray bands that I could be like, this is where they're from. These are mine. I pulled them. That's it. So then, like, if anybody wants to question, I'll show them a picture of me holding them, like in Texas. Be like, this is So it's almost like if I'm going to get gray bands, I'm going to go get them myself.
I think I think that's what's really cool about those rosy boas and all this different stuff where it's either you're doing that or you're getting it from the person who did, right? And you know them and you know exactly. That was the thing to me, right? Going to 9 miles north, well, not quite, right? It's a little further, but 9 Mile North Sanderson, that giant cut that we were walking. I see the question on here about being cold on River Road. It wasn't particularly cold. I mean, it was probably certainly it's warmer than up in the Davis, but it was probably high 60s, but it had come off of a big rainstorm. So it was all depressed heading into it. So
he's leaving.
Relative to the question. But,
and also there was all those boulders that came flying off the mountain too. So there was that on funny. River Road. Yeah.
All the
River Road was cool, but that's where we also saw that coach whip that got away from us on that one trail that we got caught in the rain on.
Yeah, so that was yeah, that's true. I wasn't even thinking of that. So that was in the park itself,
right?
Canyon Walk. You know, the trail there, Rancherias West, I think.
Yeah, and it was hot as hell. And then you got into the shadow, and it got colder in that gorge than the first one that we went to. But it just the second that giant ass rainstorm came in, it was just that was the best day because it was hot as hell, and then the rain cooled off everything, and it was still like reptile doable. Right. Every other night, it was the cloud cover didn't let it get hot enough. So when the rain came or got colder, it got cold, and all we got 100%. Were like toads. I didn't have spadefoots to choke a horse. So,
yeah. No, it was. I think it. That's why I'm so optimistic about it. But I'm with you, man, totally. That the notion, right, especially with things that are so locality specific, like Alterna and rosy boas, that it's just if you can collect them yourself. There's a whole nother level of meaning. In some ways, I think, Eric, to the point you're asking, Owen, why doesn't have gray bands? I think it's best not to start because I don't know when you'd stop, man. And it's one of these like better just not to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, I can only have so many addictions in reptile. I mean,
but they don't get all that. They don't get big, right? I mean,
but I heard aren't the babies a dick? Like I thought babies were like just a massive dick punch.
I mean, they're not
feed them lizards.
Well, sure, feed them lizards. Even if you give them tails, they're not that bad. They're like a good proportionality to take tails, so that's not too bad if that's what you want to do. And some percentage of them will take mice right away, so that's no worries either.
Yeah,
they're not that bad.
Crap. Okay.
Compared to me,
they're not any worse.
I'm saying that
not any worse than Antaresia, right?
Right. I'm saying that, and I have hognose that if they breed, I'm going to be like, "Will you eat a toad?" I don't know. Like, what are you going to do? Like, I understand. So the hang-ups I had on them before are stupid.
With hognose, school me here for a second. With Western hogs, are they easier to get going than Eastern hogs? Because Eastern hogs are tough, right? That's why they're not really
Eastern nor Western.
The answer is
really. You never had hognose?
That's right. I never had Western. I don't want a snake that can wear a hat.
Oh, okay.
Or a mustache.
Sorry, Rob. Go ahead. Yes, that's accurate.
Yeah, definitely. The Western, particularly, obviously, this multi-generation captive bred stuff that's any of the mutations. But even on F1s, they do transition to rodents as they get bigger, where it seems like the Easterns never do. They kind of take toads their entire life. And the problem with like an Eastern hog is that you have to get them to voluntarily take a toad. You can't give them a tail or something like that because the width of their body is such. That's what I mean when I say an Alterna is proportionally easy to feed tails, is because it really comports with their body structure. They're thin snakes that it works. Whereas an Eastern hog, man, it's just going to keep coming back up. You need to give them something that they want to eat, and that's why it's been historically considered a difficult thing to keep. But viewed through the lens of feeding them toads, or at least toad scent and all this stuff, I think it's much more doable, right, than it has been historically. Because whenever we hear Keith talk, right, he talks about field guides and all these things, and not being in Eastern hog range, I'm perpetually, from a kid looking at these things and saying, these are the coolest looking snakes ever. Why does no one keep these? But they keep the Western, they're just sort of, you get nice ones. There are some that are red, some interesting pattern and stuff and whatever. But for the most part, if you just looked at them, you'd be like, man, a melanistic, the full black Easterns or the ones with the orange and yellows and stuff. They look way cooler. Why aren't people keeping these ones? And it's because they're much more difficult, much more sticklers for what they actually eat in the wild.
Yeah. But there are some people do keep them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it's much more common now than it was even a decade ago. And I do
Right.
think you're probably going to run in, at least potentially, right? In the sense, it's kind of a black-headed python thing where since they don't seem to eat rodents ever in the wild, that you might have a problem if you consistently fed them rodents in captivity.
Right.
Just in terms of being super careful with that.
Like a diet.
Hell, man, we got and we got our own supply of toads. We just have to head back to the Pine Barrens.
I was going to say, I'll just run through the Pine
fill the
Barrens with a net.
buckets.
Like it's and just there we go. I'll freeze these later. It's
Yeah.
I mean, and that's honestly that's what people had to do at some point. You had to go out and catch food for your snake. So
yeah, I do like the Eastern hogs. I think they're definitely. I guess to your point, Rob, they're much. I don't know. They're more eye catching to me than say the Westerns. But
I went too far east. I went to Madagascar.
Right.
So yeah.
For the thing that actually isn't related, or at least
not at
very
all
distantly related.
Yeah.
Very, very. It's having them in the false water cobra. It's like no. These guys are more connected than these guys. Like
So
yeah.
So what they just they just evolved, and they have no relationship to each other at all. They just evolved. Like, what's the whole point of the hog? The nose, like
digging
for them. That it?
Being fossorial. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It just convergent evolution happens.
Yes. Yep.
It's fun.
Okay. Fair enough. You got what do you got going this season, Rob? We sort of were talking about that earlier on. Do you have anything you're excited about?
Yeah, I mean the Solomon Island tree boas were paired up and stuff, and they're super, as we've talked about, super long gestation. So I paired up 4 females, and we'll see what they do. They're showing interesting signs and possibilities. Produced them once before, and one of the females once before, and they
nice.
The interesting bit, right? They're a super showy species in terms of behavior because they get these massive follicles, right? So just looking at them and saying, wow, that looks huge. But they get these massive follicles that then they sit on for like the length that they would gestate. So they'll sit at a big follicle size for 6 or 7 months. And so it's very common for people to spend and even go off feed and do this different stuff that really seems to indicate that's what's going on. And slowly it'll go down at some point. It's just the big bummer. So we'll see. Their behavior is showing some interesting things. So maybe.
What drug you to that species? Was it just a challenge? Is it just you really like the snake, or what was it?
Yeah, I don't know. It was one of those that I didn't have them when they were first available, and then the Solomon Islands closed to export from the early 2000s until 2014, something like 13 or 14. So they weren't available, and then they were not particularly expensive. I mean, they're, certainly compared to everyone's notion that people used to pay you $50 to take them or whatever. I guess they're expensive. But,
right.
Yeah.
I remember when these used to be negative $500.
I remember when you used to get a ring python every time you entered Hamburg for free. It's like, hey, shut up.
They threw them in your face. Yeah. I mean, my perpetual point on that, right, is that, well, remember that $50 in 1990 was not, the modern equivalent of that is $150 or whatever. So you're kind of ignoring that. Oh yeah, they used to be $30, but $30 used to be what today is $90. So
Eric bought his first car for a nickel.
I bought my first car for $100.
See, bullshit.
Yes, and guess what? I got paid $5.15 an hour to work.
I hate
you. So yes, Rob, your point is very true. That $30 was a big way. This is the Bibrini. Summer was asking,
Bibrini,
right?
Australia.
Yeah.
You're what I did love when we went actually to Rob's place, he showed us the males and the females. The sexual dimorphism, the size of the boys compared to the girl, it is insane. Like I was expecting, you handed me this thing. I'm like, oh, cool. Is this one of last year's babies? That's an adult male. The fuck it is. Like, are you mean like that's a proven breeder? Where's the rest of him? Like it is no. You expect it to be much bigger, especially compared to the size of the females. So it's astonishing.
They look like an old. I mean, they're a boa, obviously, but they look like an old I don't know how to explain it. They're just you can tell that they're a boa, but they're sort of like this very unique looking snake. Yeah, to me, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
like a proto boa sort of.
Prehistoric kind of deal,
or something like that. Yeah,
yeah,
and it's well, obviously, right, being a boa where they are, they're pretty far from other boas and things. And I know Mark O'Shea in the 80s thought, okay, these are most closely related to West Indian boas. I don't know that is still, phylogenetically proven to be the case. So I guess to the point you were making, it's that was what initially got me to them. And then they're just cool, although being so small, those males have a great tendency to want lizards. I think throughout their life, they're probably eating lizards. They're eating your dad's emerald green skinks for the most part. And then, whereas females get that size. Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, that's why I knew what he was getting. I was like, oh, I know those. Okay,
I know those. I know them very well.
Whereas the females get big enough that they'll take rodents and stuff. So when people have them imported as captive animals, they generally, it seems like females maybe come in better or they survive better. So there's sort of disproportionate female in terms of folks who just have one. And those tend to eat pretty well. They'll more readily take rodents and more readily come back to rodents after going on a seasonal fast and that sort of thing.
Okay.
And then people think they're tame, which is pretty funny because if you touch them with the light, during the day, sure, no worries. But touch
lights
them
come off, it's on.
touch them with the lights out and see how that goes for you. It really hurts. Great jaw pressure.
Shit. I think one of my favorite snakes that you have is the Jamaican boas. Especially that one that you have, man. I love them. They are
pretty.
They are cool looking snakes. I know you say they paint the walls and all that stuff, but just from a visual point, they're cool snakes.
You can have me admit that even though I have still fever dreams of Dominican red mountain boa bullshit, like I can admit that Jamaican boas are pretty, even though I get a little twitchy around them because of all the horrors. Yeah.
Sure. Super closely related, very similar behaviors and stuff. If anything, I would say they're a little bit fussier than Dominicans, in terms
of
feeding
now.
And stuff like that. But man, they are like naturally calico critters,
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Each scale's its own thing.
Yeah. You got the Timor pythons too. Yours aren't ready yet, right? Or
no, and we'll have to see about that. I tried to put them into a cage and they didn't respond well at all, just in terms of never being out, always hiding all this stuff. So I moved them back into the tubs. I don't know. It's just sort of this is the 4th or 5th time I've had them where I'm just kind of like, yeah, I really love them, but I don't know that means that I love, it certainly doesn't mean that I love keeping them. And I don't know what that'll mean long-term.
Well, if that
know where
happens,
mine
I know you know where to go. Like, where everybody on NPR dumps Timor pythons. You know where that happens. Like,
Yeah, and I've had them for 3.5, 4 years. So it's not like a new thing or whatever. And they have some size to them, but not as big as yours. And certainly it's just kind of, do yours come out? Do you see yours at all in the cage? And
Not
all that?
right now. Not right now.
But ever?
Yes. During the summer months, they will come out. And I'll see them on top of their bins every once in a while on a tree branch or up on their shelves. But right now, both of them are just hunkered into that bin. They're not coming out. Not even when it's the temperatures are peaking up. Because normally the olives will hide during the nighttime, but they'll come out and warm up during the day. The Timors, I haven't seen them in a week and a half. The male shed, I know he did because it was all over the place. But he went back in the bin after he was done. So.
Yeah. 100%. But it was his. That's always it.
Yes.
Did you see him opaque?
I did see him getting opaque, and then I saw him shed out, and I checked him, and he had a little bit still stuck on him, but I haven't yanked him out and fucked with him because I kind of want to leave him alone because he's with the female in the bin, and that's where I want him to be. So I feel like if I fuck with him, then I'm going to come in there, and the next day he's going to be on the other side of the cage, completely away from her, and I'm going to just totally spoil everything. So he can chill over there. I will deal with whatever stuck shed he has on him later. So
100%. That is one thing actually about the Australis that sticks out to me. They have exceptionally thick skin, and they're keeled. So they are keeled, as you guys know from having seen them, but they're exceptionally thick, so that that's always an issue. I try and put a ton of water on them, when it's super dry, when I know that it's coming, to try and get it off in one piece, because it doesn't seem like retain as much of that, viscosity underneath it, where they make their own fluid to help them shed it off and all that. They don't seem to do that as well, so they'll get stuck and they'll look really bad for a long time, because you can't even really soak them and get it off very well. So, yeah, you look at the Candolia groups, and in the winter you'll see people with these, Solomon Island tree boas that look pretty brutal. But it's not for lack of trying or lack of paying attention. It's just how they are.
That's with the rainbow boas and the ring python, they have a little bin with a hole in the top, and it's just packed with moss. And I'm just every week I am soaking that stuff down to keep it moist. And then the one rainbow spent the week outside of its bin and shed horrible. I'm like, I gave you all the tools you needed to do this correctly, you dickhead. Like, and it's
broke them.
Well, not yet, but it's
Are
a
they
boa
still evil?
and it's here. Yeah, dude. One of them was laying on the ground, and I'm like, oh, cool. And I touch it, and it just nails the hell out of me. Melissa comes in and picks it right up, and it's just curled up in her hand. So either they just hate me, or it's probably
they know you don't like boas.
I've said some horrible things about boas.
Yes.
A lot of it, And I want Argentine still. So what does that say?
Those are crazy looking snakes, man. Just those giant heads,
I'm just waiting,
I like them and appreciate them, but they're not my just those giant skeleton heads and stuff. They're crazy looking, man.
Well, we know a guy who's got a pair, so I'm just chomping at the bit, waiting for him to drop a litter, and then I'll be like, I will be right over. Like, it's just, oh no, I somehow magically appeared at Keith's house. Like, it's
damn.
Damn.
I think the other snakes that stood out to me in your collection, Rob, was the no, I can't remember. You have bull snakes, right? Are they bull snakes?
The northern Mexican pines, the Depai
pine snakes. Okay.
Yeah, those are cool. So that's actually what. So when I moved the Timors back, I put those into those cages, and
they're having fun.
Cool. Yeah, because those things will move around. They'll sit under the light. They'll do all sorts of cool stuff. It's like, oh, okay, what I was not getting out of the Timors that I was hoping to see, I'm getting out of these, which are diurnal. So it's even that much the better.
Even better,
yeah.
Yeah, they were beautiful. Are they a specific line, or are they're just?
Yeah, they are. They're from. So I got them from Tim Gebhardt and Vivid Reptiles, and they're out of a locality stuff that he's been working with for 20 years or whatever. And they actually, so that line of locality specific Depai have thrown sort of a hypo thing that'll sometimes make them a little bit reverse striped, and he calls it, there's like a summer and winter phase on this thing, so it'll make them super white, or it'll bleach them out and all cool stuff. And these are at a minimum related to that stuff. They're possible hats or whatever, but they're as you've seen them, they're just beautiful. They've got yellow and red and purple, and just beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've slowly developed an appreciation for those snakes. First of all, they look like they're mad all the time, like gopher snakes, pine snakes, and
they look like they're perpetually
they just
pissed
look like
off.
They're pissed.
Yeah,
they just like the way their scales are shaped. They look like they have like this skull, like, I'm a grumpy old man, get off my lawn, or I'm gonna bite the shit out of you. And then they got this whole defense thing, just cool snakes,
Open mouth.
Keith has some nice ones too. Yeah. That's like that's your wheelhouse, Owen. Why don't you have more of those things?
I have a pair of pines.
You have a pair. I thought you would have multiple pairs. I don't know.
I can only have so many. I only have so much room, dude. So I have a pair of pines, and then my cousin has a pair of bull snakes that I helped him procure. So I'm like living vicariously through him. So I have a northern pine snake female, and then I have an albino northern pine snake male.
So I'm going to ask this question. It's probably a dumb question, but
It is.
I'm a Python guy, carpet Python at heart, all that stuff, right? Limits are for quitters, Owen.
It's not because of that. It's because you can only have so much room where there's
Oh wait, there it is.
there it is. Get that. You got to get that one. You only have so much room in the house. Wait, I'm getting a building.
So what is it just where they're from? Are they basically the same thing? Like, explain why some are gophers, some are pines,
out.
and
Eric,
some are...
just all Rob. Go ahead. I'm out.
You don't even know, Owen? All right, now I don't feel so bad.
Well, no, I mean, so it's like the carpet thing, man. It's just sort of a common, again, you're into a common naming convention situation. And it's just like they're all the same genus, and it's in terms of the way the names are utilized, right? It's based on, so all the Pituophis, there's species and subspecies. Well, a lot of subspecies onto different species, and certain species are referred to as gopher snakes, some as bull snakes, some as pine snakes. But it's generally speaking, pine snakes are on the East Coast, and then as you go west, you get into bull snakes, and then it's gopher snakes the further west you go. So like on the West Coast, Utah, Arizona, it's even what we saw in West Texas, that's a Sonoran gopher. Whereas come north, then it's a bull snake, and then in Illinois and stuff, it's bull snakes, and then both Florida all the way up to you guys is pine snakes.
Isn't it the same thing with like a mountain lion and a cougar and a puma?
Yeah, I think so. It's a regional naming convention.
The same damn cat, but it just keeps going over.
So it's timbers and cane breaks, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
Although, I mean, the species in the of gophers, bulls, and pines, the species is actually different, but in terms of being in the same genus and being functionally the same creature, just in a different environment, there's nothing inherent to them other than the fact that they live in Illinois versus living in New Jersey that wouldn't have called them. If the snakes that live in Illinois lived in New Jersey, people would have called them pine snakes. They just call them a different pine snake down in northern pine. That's the one. That's the thing, man. That spot that we went to in the Pine Barrens that we'll hit up again. That's the play I'd love to see. In New Jersey, northern pine. That would be amazing.
Yeah. The one that's not in a drawer in Owen's house. Got it.
Yeah. I mean, the one in the drawer in your house, very cool to see that thing sitting. I mean, that was the thing. We were doing that, going down the track and all, and it was just like I kept in my mind's eye, right, picturing that, like, man, right when we turn this corner, there's going to be one sitting right there because we are in the perfect spot.
I've done that so many times when herping, where it's like, this is the picture from the book. Like, the snake should be here.
Right. I guess the difficulty with finding them in the wild, though, is that they like to go down into burrows and stuff, which makes it.
You got to hit it right with temps. That's the thing.
So it's like Owen Pelly, right?
Yeah.
They're up in a rock. Yeah.
And I mean, because there's been so much development and stuff, particularly up by you guys, that it's like definitely their populations are, and I mean, heck, historical collection, right? Because herpetoculture, so to speak, right, in the United States, out of there, you read the Kaufeld books, and they're talking about pulling, dozens of pine snakes from these spots. And to me, it's the same thing as all the, contamination of the earth. That my reaction is always, I'm amazed at how good we're doing, considering all the negative things that have gone into the system. In the same way that it's like, I'm amazed that there are still pine snakes in New Jersey, considering how many of them were wiped, were taken historically. Maybe that's a positive.
It's a glass half full guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to look at it. It's like, aha, we found it. Like we found a night snake. They're still here. Like,
right, it still exists. Very cool. Like.
I love that snake. That night snake, I thought was one of the coolest snakes we found on the West Texas trip.
I think it was on either on Fauna or King Snake, and somebody was selling night snakes, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's what that looked like. Like it's I don't want to own it. Like I don't want to own it because it's like I like in my mind what we had and what we found, and that we were like, this thing's awesome. Bye. Like it was, so.
Yeah, I like that 100%. Snake a lot. It's just chilling on that we had it on that little tiny it almost looked like a bonsai side tree,
tiny,
It's just sitting there and we're just shooting away.
An hour later, we're still with this night snake. It's like, oh shit, yeah.
And that was
we spent a lot of time with that snake.
Dogs and all that,
yeah.
We're about to get killed by some sort of.
Yeah, I forgot about those dogs.
Yeah.
I was like, you sure? Should we stop?
Owen will warn us before one takes Rob out. Like, yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, heck, it's Texas, it's always, there's some concern of like, will we get shot for pulling this dog off the road?
Yeah. You
they
folks
have
doing
different
around
rules
here
down there.
Like, just, yeah.
Huh. Yeah, cool snakes for sure. I like them a lot. I also like the patch nose snake. I thought that was really cool as well.
I was thinking about
cool.
that the other day too. Yeah. So,
and that place is, I mean, talking of rock rattlesnakes, that's what I kept, and that's how y'all wound up in front of me. Justin is funny. He's always either going or he's the last one or the first one. Man, that's how he is. He is great. But so he was with you guys when you found that. Whereas I kept slowing down because I'm like, man, the way we're getting this sun right at 4:30 or whatever that's come peeking through, I'm like, this is the first warm. There's going to be a rock rattlesnake in this spot. I know it. And then, I missed the last half of the trek because I had to catch up to you guys seeing that patch nose, but well worth it. Amazing critter.
It's so funny because it's like, I know what a rock rattlesnake looks like. And then seeing those cuts, I'm like, oh, that's why. Like, it's like, that's it. Perfect. Blend in. And I'm like, yeah, I was so hoping we'd see one. I
don't know if you can see that, Rob. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. I don't know if Scott, certainly this one was under a flat sort of cap rock situation. So I don't think, from this instance, can't speak to it. Certainly it's doing something. I agree with you there. It's not upturned in the same way, but it does have the, it suggests it's poking around at things. Maybe it's into crevices, but then again, you'd say, okay, well, what about Bogertophis or whatever that don't have the same structure, but a similar lifestyle? I don't know.
Yeah.
Snakes with funny noses. Yeah.
It seems like what we have here in the U.S.
It's just
they look pissed off or they have funny faces.
Pissed off, funny fases, weird ass tails.
Easier to put on when you.
Even the Willardi have an upturned snout. The ridge nosed rattlesnake.
100%. Yeah.
So that'll be how many? I'm looking forward to that one too, man. All these grids, it's just it's a little light and sad to not be going to Australia, but I think we're doing some cool stuff, man. And at least when you're in on two of the three and all. And
yeah, I mean, it's something for me to like. I put in for it, and
it was like instantly they said no. That was
like, crazy. I'm like, So I put in for October, and they're like, "We'll think about it," and I'm like, "Please." I'm like, it'll give me something to look forward to.
You said this one is, 8 months away. At least you should think about it.
Yeah,
3 months away, we're not even going to think.
All right.
What about? You better put in now for the trip to the Kimberley, man. I mean, you would
2021, 22.
There are certain other things that might be happening in 2022 that I have to work around with because I have to make sure that other people who might be ditching me and going to the Kimberley are also included. So I'm trying. She's like, I want a fall wedding. Can't be in October. She's like, why not? Can't. That's Australia time. She goes, you're not going to. Please don't make me do this. It's just like,
don't make me choose. We're not married yet. Oh boy.
I'm like, all my friends will go. They will be here.
That could be dangerous, my friend.
Yep. Working on it.
Kimberley would be similar timing to the West Texas thing, so bear that in mind to whatever extent,
Okay, so it'd be later.
Pertinent.
Yeah.
Well, so that, I mean, presuming Australia's not open, I guess it pushes it onto the backside of that. It'd be October and then, coming into that June or whatever. But hey, man, we could still dream about June 2022. Maybe Scott will join us being on here. Maybe we'll get a big, maybe that can be made to work. 2023, Jesus Christ.
2023, Jesus Christ.
2023.
No, you asshole.
Gosh.
I'm not going to be
dead by now.
Exactly. We have to hurry. Eric's borrowed time.
I got time running out, man. What the hell? I ain't young like you guys.
Kimberly's going to be the June trip instead of October. I can make this work.
Yeah. Herpin Indo. I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever herp Indo. I don't know. That's a definitely a
herp Indo. We have to take Matt with us because he's going to be the one who's going to want to try to jump into a pit of blood pythons. I mean,
yeah. 100%. No, I
I
think
think
it's very cool, but it's just and I mean, maybe to Scott's point, it's one of these where it's more accessible for
Yeah.
better and worse, right? Relative
Right.
to if Australia is just going to be on lockdown for the foreseeable future or whatever, maybe it becomes more practical. Certainly going to say Biak, right? I know Dan Natush says that's pretty doable place. A lot of birders go there. Some folks into fish go there. So maybe that's pretty practical. Certainly, if you're talking Bali and Sumatra and stuff, that's pretty easy too. Halmahera would be a trip, man. Get out to Ternate. The problem is just I think the logistics of travel to get out there. The time constraints are you just have to be sort of on Indo time, so to speak, right? Where you're just it's like Louisiana time. You got to be on Indo time, and if we have turnarounds of a week, that's probably not gonna work. It's got to be. And so when we can do that and make it work is absent going someplace where that's the one spot. I think getting into an island hopping thing, man, things could go sideways timing wise pretty easily.
So Eric's going to start learning how to fly one of those planes that lands on the water, and
that's
how we'll do it.
No,
Today, the MPR boys died in a crash into a mountain.
Eric Dottie had it.
Yeah, plus
Dottie had it.
You're 100%.
What's that?
The weather.
The mountain. Like
the weather can make or break a trip like that. I mean, you could be stuck wherever you are, and but it would be cool to go there for sure. I would. 100%. I wouldn't. Mind going to somewhere where you could see like a king cobra or something like that, or like cobras, or those kind of venomous species, because I guess it's just so different than what we have here in the States. But
fast moving venomous make me nervous. They prefer the venomous that just want to sit there and yell at you from afar. I mean, like, I had my fun. I'm good.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's the only thing with those, right? It's one of these where it's like, I certainly don't want to touch you. I just want you to sit still for long enough that like I have no interest in touching those things.
Hands off.
It's just, hey man, just please give me the,
give me the shot, then you can go on your way. Yep.
Yeah. That was the thing with that timber, right? It was so great, and then it was like, okay, you've reached
you've come close enough. I'm out.
Pictures as you're getting closer, so it's like, okay, maybe I'm getting a greater and greater chance of having a photo that I like, but then you'll hit a point where it just says, okay, I'm out, man. No worries.
I was hoping she was gonna like sit back for a little bit and like maybe sit up with her tail like the Western did in Texas, but she was just like, yeah, peace. Like it was just like that was enough.
Yes, Scott, we do need you for any of that stuff. Just because it's, as I say, no interest in touching any of that stuff at all. So
yeah, that's definitely a hands-off thing. But man, it would be cool to see those iconic species in the wild, to
definitely
see them. So, but the the cool thing that I always say about like when you herp in Australia, you don't really have to worry too much about like the big carnivore species that you could absolutely like accidentally run into. Whereas like when we're looking for timber rattlesnakes as we're walking along the railroad tracks, it's like these signs that say "Watch out for black bears" and all this. And then you got it's just wherever you go, it's either you got mountain lions, you got bears, you got.
That was in Texas. That sign that said "Beware, there could be mountain lions here." It's like, oh shit! Like it was.
I mean, you probably aren't going to run into them, and they're probably going to know you're there before they're
in
there.
Australia. There were signs everywhere about saltwater crocodile, but you just don't go in the water. Like it was easily defeated. So,
well,
I mean,
on our first trip, me and Rob learned the hard way as we drove and saw the cassowary signs. You just kind of like, oh,
yeah, I thought it was all fun and games, man. I just thought it was a stupid somehow it didn't occur to me that, and I think that maybe the part of that we should have borne in mind more than we did, right, was that they weren't like permanently affixed.
No, those weren't. Yeah,
they were like taped up with with packing
There's a
tape.
bird here.
This literally, this is not something that's always here, and that's with the bear stuff and whatever. You kind of get a false sense of security because you look at it and say, okay, well, this this is just always here. This is an area where they're known to occur, whatever it may be. Whereas on the cassowary stuff, right? It's like, no, someone put that up like 2 days ago.
Because the cassowary
maybe that should matter to me as I'm wandering down this dense forest trail, right? And then it's like, oh, what's on the ground? Oh, what's standing next to the thing on the ground? Oh, okay. And then, gave the, I mean, Eric can better speak to it, but sort of the problematic, like, okay, well, Rob just walked onto like a corpse, a murderer, or an unexpected, visitor, which is, we went with the third option there. But
don't worry. If something bad happened, Chris and Lemmy would have totally helped you guys.
Well, I mean, you two were both at the car, and it was just like, we were totally backed up. The Homer Simpson into the hedge was basically my intention.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the little babies that are just like, I'm a little dinosaur, and my dad will, mess up anything. I can just act, I can wander about life without a care in the world because I'm with this giant dinosaur.
Right. The funny thing about that was that, Rob, you were down the road and we were sort of putting our camera together.
Yeah, you were messing with the car. Yeah. Mess around.
Yeah, we were getting the, because remember Chris had all those different lenses and shit,
right.
I think that's probably the reason why you chose to just have the one lens. But I remember we were at the trunk and we're sort of saying like, I don't know, we heard you saying like, guys, and we're like, and all of a sudden we kick into this like feverish motion where we're trying to put the lens onto the thing. Like, which lens should I get? Which one should I take? I don't know. Just take the big one. You take the big one. I'll take the small one. Right. So then we have both things covered. We're like, okay. And I'm sitting there saying like, what if you found something that, like, well, what if it's, I don't
dangerous.
know. What if it's no good? What if it is a cassowary? Oh, it's no problem unless they have chicks with them. We walk down the thing and it's like, oh, it's got chicks. Do we dive into the bush? Do we run? What do we do?
Right. My gosh, man.
Just know that you can just kick Chris Salemi in the kneecap and run. Like, but you don't have to be the fastest.
Funny.
You just don't be the slowest.
It's funny, right? That, the whole thing, and I've watched videos where there's guys on the beach just sitting there eating lunch and the cassowary just comes up and starts picking at their lunch. And it's just like, no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
When you're the baddest thing in the area, you don't give a shit. Like it's...
Yeah. Oh man, that was.
Scout saying that they get hit by cars and stuff, and I can imagine. Yeah, this was just. It was one of those I just didn't even consider. I didn't take it in beyond maybe a lark or what I was saying. Oh, that's kind of funny. That's cool or whatever. And then, but I tell you what was that place? Walking down the trail it's in Coranda.
Coranda, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, north of Coranda.
Yep.
And
we
it's
were
just
hoping to find big scrubs there.
Yeah, 100%. And then we went to the place that Scott sent us, and I didn't bother to look at beforehand. And then it, thinking, how hard it could be, and it turned out that it was like an 18-sided object. That wasn't cool.
Was
Chris,
was not fun.
I mean, I was only like bummed out because my flashlight was dead. And then we had people calling the cops on us that they were close enough that you could hear them. So I was a little disconcerted about that. And we had parked illegally, or at least not in like a formal parking spot. So I was a little worried about that. Those were my principal concerns. But then it turned out I should have been more concerned with the fact that it's like an 18-sided shape that goes into two different diamonds. And it was just a hot mess.
I would have loved to have Owen toward that excursion.
No, it would not have gone well.
Yeah, Chris, you can imagine what Chris was not. He was not happy,
man. He was not happy.
It was almost like when Eric and Justin left me and Rob by the side of the road, and we're walking, and after a certain point, Rob's like, I'm like, did they leave us? Like, and he's like, no, I don't think so. And in my head, I'm like, you're right. They would not have left Rob. If it was just you out here, Owen, they would have left you here to die. Like, it's like, just stay close to Rob. They can't come back and get him without getting you. They'll be quick about it. Like, they'll try. So just make sure you get in the car first. So,
Well, we saw an
yeah, we
echidna
did see an
there, right?
echidna. Yeah, we saw an
That was-
echidna there.
That was cool.
Echidna,
And it was a cool spot. Yeah, for
100%.
sure.
Yeah, I mean it's a cool place. The other bit, oh, and that gave me some faith because I began to wonder too, as I was like, did they leave? But the thing that said they probably didn't is that they would have had to go about an hour and a half the opposite direction. There's like no other place to go.
They have to
Save
come
going
back.
straight north for like 45 miles and then coming back around and stuff. It was like, well, do they really not want us so badly that they drive like
They
2 hours out of the way?
No.
No, they were just driving, talking about snakes, not really caring about the fact that Owen and Rob are walking. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We just kind of got into the mode of we were having a conversation and just, you get lost in the conversation. And we're like, oh,
It
shit.
would have been fine if there was anything going, but with those
If there was
things-
shit happening, we wouldn't have
Yeah.
cared. But it was like, that's the same toad we saw, like,
yeah,
Yeah.
and
100
that's
yards
the
that
spot
way.
that I'm
Yeah.
very confident there will be stuff. Temps are right, that,
Mhm.
and that's always in its
Yeah.
own way. That's its own bummer. Is that it's
Yeah.
like we're in the right spot, but it's just not happening. But you're not fundamentally wrong, and in some,
Right.
it's almost like that's worse in some way
Yeah.
than the folks who
Yeah.
go to Australia and say like, "What stuff's not just gonna fall on me as I walk along the street?" In downtown Brisbane, I'm not gonna have a carpet fall on me as I walk along the street.
I was deceived.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe a carpet, but
What was
I don't know about
that fried chicken place we went to? You guys seem to dig that.
Oh yeah, that was good. That
So
was
not the one in not Atherton, but Mariba.
The one in
Not
Brisbane.
that one. The one in Brisbane itself. So I mean, it's a fast food place, presumably.
Mm.
Yeah, it was like I don't know. I guess what it would be similar to in the States would probably be something like a rotisserie chicken type of thing, but they cut it up and then they put it on a roll, and then you can get it with gravy, not like that kind of thing. And I thought it was good, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Australia.
I was probably starving.
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but like I think a week ago I got it in my head for those like icebreakers. I'm like, God, I would kill for one of those right now. Like I was just
Yeah.
I just
did
want
quite
one
enjoy
right
those.
here, the big ones, the big black one. And I was just like, God,
Sugar coffee.
yeah, I want the sugar drink.
I'm just chugging diabetes down my throat.
It's basically Nesquik with sugar. Like, you shut up.
Caffeinated Nesquik. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's all I
Yeah.
want. It's all I wanted that one day. So
It was good though. That was good for sure.
yep.
But okay, cool. I don't know. What else you guys want to chat about?
I got
Owen did it to me again.
Not all the time. It's
See, Rob, he's gotten spoiled with this whole we don't do it live anymore type of thing. So if he screws it up, Eric can fix it in the mix. And if he wants to,
I've become lazy and complacent,
Yes.
and I just do whatever I want now, as opposed to before when I
I didn't
was
think
lazy
you could get
and
any lazier.
complacent and
Jesus.
just, this hurts. This hurts me.
Yes.
I don't appreciate this.
So Scott says that the Brisbane chicken place is Oporto. I don't know how you say it.
Porto
Yeah.
or whatever. Damn.
The
Alan
Mariba chicken
McDiamond.
place is the place that Eric would have stabbed someone to have again.
Yeah, that was good,
Dude,
man.
I don't know.
That
I
was-
want a crocodile parmesan. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good too. But this
Yeah.
fried chicken was like in the middle. Where were we? Outside of Atherton, I guess.
Yeah, it's
we're
north of
on our
Atherton.
way to
It's
Chilligo,
probably
right?
40. Yeah. So it was before we had gone. We'd come, from over in Cairns or south of Cairns. So
Yeah. It was like you would never expect like more inland talk. Inland talk. Okay. Inland carpets. Yeah. You would never expect this chicken to be that good, but yeah, man, it was.
yeah, it's just in a
Diamond's
little
like-
strip, a little shopping strip or whatever that's on the main drag, and it's pretty unassuming, but it was delicious.
It was good. Yeah, I talked about my diamonds at the beginning of the
show. Yeah,
of the
and the
show.
inlands.
Kinda,
How many tree breaks have you found this year? None, because your monkey is fake.
you know, and that's the two species that I'm hoping to produce this year, diamonds and inlands. But in the chat earlier, we realized that diamond or inlands can breed in the
Uh-oh.
Lost Bob Rock.
Tiffany killed him.
You're okay. Hold on.
Yeah. No worries. Tree bricks. So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping I produce some inlands. I'm actually this year the ones that I'm breeding are going to be the Mulg line. I don't know.
Better.
Let me see if I can pull it up real quick as we talk. You like the Mulg better? Why?
I like the Mulg better.
Those
are the ones I've seen the most, I think, in person. I've seen your Mulgs. I like the kind of bluish color and the reduced pattern. I kind of like their heads. Right. I know that when I vended a show a few times with Ben from Aussie Addiction, he had a couple of baby inlands, and I did like those better. The Schofields are cool, but I kind of just always drifted more towards the Mulg.
Yeah, I think the problem with the inlands just in general, especially they suffer from what, you know, most carpet python people struggle with is the fact that they're just gray babies, you know. They're just not all that attractive.
Like coastals. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so it makes it I'm trying to find the picture of the one male.
This is the Herpetoculture spiderwebs. Are those the Bluetooth, or I'm sorry, the ones that connect to the internet or something like that?
Yeah, I think you can look at them through Wi-Fi, right? That's the right.
I think so.
The idea with them.
What is it? I think you need a new game of how many times can Owen think of the magic monkey in 30 seconds. He doesn't have to. It doesn't exist. Your stupid monkey is stupid.
So,
you ever cracked the code? Who sent you those spices?
No. Yeah, somebody sent me 7 different barbecue and herb blend spices that all have something to do with Bigfoot. I don't know who you are, because you're an asshole who managed to keep your name away from anything that had to do with like the sale. Also, you didn't include any kind of thank you note or anything like that, but I'm also a little disturbed that you also know my home address. My main suspicion is Dr. Wyman.
He would send it all the way from.
Well, you didn't have to order it, but I think he
purchased it and get it.
He just purchased it. Yeah. I'm suspicious because
I don't know, man. As soon as I saw Spokane, Washington,
I thought Nick, but dude, like I said, Nick would have signed it. He would have been proud. But and Travis sent me the complete chondro, so I'm suspicious. I have many suspicions. I think several other people that I know are lying too. So it's a mass conspiracy.
So this is the male. Can you see that on the page?
It's a snake, yes.
Okay. So this is the male Mulg inland that I hope breeds with the female. Now the female I have is sort of similar, but she has way more reduced black on the back. It's more like this color here. Yeah. But this red, man, I hope to really kind of bring that out, and then you can sort of see it in the saddles and stuff, and you know, along here and in there. I don't know if
the problem is, like, I want you to go reverse. I want reduced pattern, nothing but black and like grayish blue. Get rid of the red. That's all I want.
Oh, so see, you probably would like the Schofield better because.
Am I getting the two lines confused again?
I think you are.
Son of a bitch.
Eric, is that one that you just showed? Is that related? The one that you have that's related to Paul's striper stuff, or no?
No, the Schofield stuff that I have is the striper stuff. But you would think it would be the opposite, looking at that snake.
Yeah, right? With that reverse look and all that. I mean, that's an interesting. Yeah. Has there been any more to that? See, either partials or anything, or is that maybe that incubation or just a weird egg or something?
I think it might have been an incubation thing. I think Paul sort of has moved on from that project because I think that he hasn't gotten any kind of results. Now I have well, no, actually both of my Schofields are from that line. So I don't know. Who knows? Maybe if they produce, but they don't have the red. At least mine don't. I know, it's just like any carpets, they're very variable, but for those in particular, they don't have the red. The Schofield has more, or is more of like, I think what Owen likes, that blue and the black.
Yeah.
And the gray.
It's almost like your gelatins. I just want that.
Yeah, that's the comment.
Why not just get the gelatins? No.
that railroad track, that was interesting. Yeah, that kind of caught my attention. It's shorter dashing in there, but
it didn't improve out. So
okay,
that's what Lucas was saying.
So probably ingation or who knows?
Yeah,
got a little dry or something. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen guys in Australia like Darren. He has a striped inland project, I believe. He has so I've seen it done. I would imagine it would be sort of like any other striped carpet. I would imagine they would kind of go along the same lines, but
not that particular one. I guess that one was just so interesting because it was so nice from the jump, that it was like, it wasn't a work toward it. It was just like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like all the work was done, it's like, I think of that picture of Balin's coastal carpet where it's like that that one I'm talking about, Owen, where he has
perfect
it
spiral and you get dizzy. Yeah.
So it's sort of like that.
I have two like that. They're both girls. I'm good at planning. So it's
the gelatin that I sent Rob, I like that he sent that picture back. It's like it's in this weird, like, does it want to be yellow or does it want to be be
what the hell is this animal doing?
Yeah.
I mean, the photo looks messed up and it's like, well, that's what it actually looks like.
It's accurate.
I was like, Rob might think this is cool. I think more for the pattern but I did notice that crazy color. There was another one that looked like that. So I don't know. That's probably variability in the clutch.
But that's how that shit starts. Because then you take the funky looking color ones, you breed them all together. And then eventually you get to the point where the jungles no longer resemble the jungles from where they're from. Like, jungle carpets in the United States, there's the only colors on them are yellow and black, when half the jungles you guys are pulling out were completely different.
Well, that was the funny bit of that, right? And everyone's tired of hearing of it, I'm sure. But it's like the one was the classic, or more close to the classic look, or the wild type jungle coloration. There was nothing special about either gelatin jungle's color. Although, if you go on iNaturalist, there's one killed on the road, not the road we were taking, but if you take the highway up, that is exactly the prototype color of that line. Paul, the Paul stuff and whatever, like that color. But man, one of those looked like just sort of a standard wild jungle, so to speak, and the other one looked like a citrus tiger.
Yeah, man.
But
I remember it's just like, wait, what?
That was crazy. That was the first one we saw. The first one we saw, it was like, what is this, man?
It's not supposed to be like this.
Purple and neon, this brightness to the yellow, like a highlighter kind of, on a purple color. It was weird.
That's nuts.
That was a definite highlight for me. That's the first carpet I saw. It's just like, wow, it looks like a citrus tiger. Here's a younger picture of the Schofield one, but hold on one sec, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm curious to see. Is that what you're talking about, Owen?
Yes. Yep. That's it.
It still does have some red, but not
it's
as
more reduced.
It's not as intense.
The problem is what I really want is I want the stuff that was it Tim Tyndall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I want his.
he sort of mixes to both lines.
Yeah, I know.
So maybe that's why he's getting the results.
But that I want his. It's a reduced pattern. It's bright colors, and they're impossible to get, which is why I want it. So yeah,
of course.
I know.
I mean, I would think it's not totally right because he's in the UK, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to pay that.
Right. Okay. Not practical.
Not practical.
As opposed to not possible. I hear you.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
I do not have the inlands are not in this room yet. They are in the other room.
Those are all the diamonds next to you.
These are just diamonds that are with me here.
Just goddamn diamonds.
Yeah, just
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. I thought I was going to find a picture of the. Oh wait, I know where I. No, I wouldn't have it. I thought I was going to have a picture of the. Um, the
You
jungle.
moved the room all around. I've been looking at that the whole time, thinking it looks off, but
no,
I did.
you shift the things. Yeah, you move those right, and the books over. Yeah, okay.
And his incubator's gone.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
No, my incubator's over here.
Oh.
We'll keep going.
What are you?
No,
we're just looking at the computer now.
Oh, we're watching ourselves.
It's some sort of inception, like within a thing now.
The bookshelf is that's the.
Yeah, if we look even closer, we can see ourselves.
See ourselves in the thing, Yeah, it's just messed up.
Yeah. And then the Ackies are right there.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
see if they were out.
I gotta if we're gonna keep doing these live shows, I need to have some shit behind me that's cool. I need to have some sort of carpet cage.
Carpet Fest poster.
Yeah,
I did get. I can't wait to hang this up. This is pretty cool.
And he walks away, completely just gone.
That nice.
I think that knobtail's in danger.
I think so.
Yeah. Also, that knobtail is huge compared to that carpet. Either that carpet is small or that knobtail is huge. Like it is.
Well, that's
pretty big, but yeah.
They're my favorite of the knobtails. That was the Amy Eye. Something about their face,
Very similar to the Asper, but with that orange instead. I think it's one of those things that, and if you even go back to maybe the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s sort of situation where, and actually it falls into the same box, right? They were all the same, all Asper when they were really mostly talking about Amy Eye here in the States. So there's some weirdness to that. But if the Amy Eye, the crazy orange into hypo orange into, more of a basketball color, weren't the ones that were here, those would be the ones that we like instead of the Asper where everyone wants those, when those are the charcoal gray to dark, and darker and all this stuff. And it's like, man, if the roles were reversed, Amy Eye is what people would want, but it's because they aren't here that people are so hot to try. Well, I mean, they're here, but at dramatically reduced numbers that, that's why everyone wants Asper. So I respect your, your non-hipsterism there, Eric, in terms of liking the Amy Eye over the Asper. I respect.
Good
job. Hat for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. But yeah, that's all. Oh, man, I wish I could show. I guess I could. Maybe I can show it. But see, I can tell that the temperature's starting to change because look, the diamond python. Hold on.
Oh God. That's a diamond python.
Having a sit,
that's a hunting position. And that's another diamond python.
Yeah.
It's the same diamond python from before.
They're just sort of chilling, man. They're just sort of chilling out.
It's a shame for the people who listen to the audio of this later.
Well, yeah. I'll edit that out. I can't.
That certainly won't happen. Okay.
No, it's gonna go raw, straight. And you push a button.
Let it go.
Let it just do it.
Well, then it'll force people to go and watch the YouTube thing, Owen.
You're right. You're
method to the madness. Just be quiet. Stay in
the
co-pilot seat.
Just be quiet, Owen. Look pretty, like you're supposed to, in silence.
Yes.
God.
But yeah. Show the Yaki. Oh, I can't. They're not.
Yeah, pull the Yankees out. Let's see how that goes.
They're down in the. They're down. I guess I could show the enclosure, but
we don't. Okay.
Hold on. So Scott's talking about the Asper and the Amy Eye. Hey, I didn't really know that. I didn't know the status of those in captivity in Australia in terms of either of them. I'd be curious to know whether he has the banded or the normal Asper.
Yeah. Nope. No. Okay. Almost. There you go.
Okay. There we go.
Cool. No, it looks good. Now you just need more.
I would like to get, if I'm going to get another monitor, it would be Kimberly Rocks. I like the Aboriginal look to their back pattern. Yeah.
They're definitely my favorite small goanna, and they're Keith's favorite small goanna too. So you can bear that in mind, man. That they're so sleek. You know, they're
they got that long head, and they look like
they have a gracile appearance, but not sort of. The bummer to me on all the Prasinus complex stuff, whether any of the quote, color tree monitors, is that they look like emaciated. That's just their natural condition.
They're just naturally dying.
Horrific. Yeah, I mean, they look horrific, perpetually horrific, and it's sort of a bummer to me. So I see why people like them, but simultaneously compare that to something that is similarly sized, like a Glauerdi, but it doesn't have that look at all. Instead, it looks super fit instead of half dead.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're definitely cool. Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, I've had monitors in early 2000, and it's like the reptile starter pack. You have a monitor, you have a snake, you have a python, you have a colubrid, you have a Chinese water dragon. The staple pet shop stuff, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm really digging them. They're really cool. So
yeah, 100%, man. It's such cool behaviors. Certainly, the old man's rubbing off on you.
Yeah, he really is, man. I don't know if I told you. I think I said it to Owen last week, but his new thing is dart frogs. But I got to give it to him, man. He set up the enclosure. He wants it to grow in. He didn't pick out the ones. He's researching the frog. I'm like, wow, I'm pretty impressed, man. I'm pretty impressed. Wow. Thought he would just be like jumping at the as soon as he saw it. He went to that reptile. Did you go to
Oaks.
it, Owen?
I went to Oaks. I was in, got my food, picked up my cages, and then I was out. So, but I kept an eye out for old man Burke, but I did not see him when I was there. So
oh no,
we'll have to hear. No. So Scott's in the chat here, just presenting all sorts of topics that necessitate him. What he should do is just come on right now, but I guess he's got stuff going, so he can't do that. But just putting up stuff that we'll have to chat through
next time
on a show coming up.
Yeah.
He says 3 species on the Kims, and certainly there's the stuff in the Kimberley, and then there's the NT critters. But I'm curious what the third distinction is.
I mean,
no doubt, man. So he's talking about the Nerlangi critters, and that's the timing wasn't right for us to see those. And certainly there's glebos there. Well, at least due to beer, and there's glebos around there too. I still think that was a Tristis that was on the road.
That was a glebo squashed. Yeah.
No.
Oh, the one that ran across the road.
Yeah. That can't have been a glebo because that'd be too depressing for me to deal with.
Okay, so it's never that. Got it.
I think it was.
What was the one we saw that was overheating?
So that was a Gouldai.
Yeah,
Gouldai. Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Although don't let the folks on the monitor trolls on iNaturalist see that, because
fuck those guys.
Yeah,
is that the ones that gave you a hard time? Is that what broke you from iNaturalist? Was that?
Yeah, pretty much. And although the funny bit to me then, and and I don't think I've told you this. I know I've told Eric. Justin. So the best part of Justin on the trip is that he would go and he would give all these little conversation starters, right? He'd just say, "Oh, let's start talking about X, Y, and Z." And he said, "Oh, who'd you fire into the sun?" And the answer to me, I initially didn't have one. I think I didn't get an answer down for that. And in terms of reptiles and whatever, and the answer should have been a very clear: the monitor trolls on iNaturalist should be fired into the sun.
Yes, I agree.
Yes,
dickheads.
It's so cruel and unnecessary. I mean,
and now they get nothing.
The worst
and now
of
they
the
don't
internet.
get any of the pictures. Yeah. Didn't even tell you guys we found a Noan Pelly Python. Fuck you on iNaturalist. Now you get nothing.
Yeah. I think the only one there is the Spider Girl, right?
Yeah. I think so. Ours is on there because that was before this all turned. But subsequently, no. And Justin put some stuff up from our last trip and all this stuff, and all that. So not bad, but
I threw some stuff up there from like old herping things, and I think I put our timber up there too. But
welcome to it, man. It's a good resource, but so much of that just is
it's just idiots that are just
the comment section, and it's like I just have no need for this.
And I think I threw up one of the water pythons, and it was literally bouncing between a water python and a water snake, and people were disagreeing. I'm like, like something like Liasis fuscus or Liasis fuscus, and it kept jumping between the two, and I kept getting alerts every time people changed it. I'm like, they're the same fucking thing. Like, stop it. So yeah.
You guys are again getting back to when I had first jumped in, where it's like you all are arguing about the taxonomy, not about what I have a picture of.
Exactly.
This is not a question of what's in the picture. This is you guys arguing about what the name for what's in the picture should be. And I really don't have
patience.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I'm so out on the maybe that's why I'm so out on, you know, all the taxonomy stuff, save Ganyosoma, Tropus Berlinderi. You know, save for that. Why I'm so out on it is because it's like seeing how trivial and pointless and like there's something I want to say. It's better to leave it, you know, where it's just like, okay, what's the point? You know, why am I? I'm not going to engage this stuff if it's not elucidating anything for anyone.
If I put the wrong Rhino Latin on my website, Rob, will you get mad at me?
Please don't.
Okay.
Again, I guess my only point to that would be that if you know, love what Justin's doing, you know, the Herpetoculture magazine. I think I wrote in there pretty plainly why I think it should be Rhynchophis and what I think sort of the layout should be. And you read it, and then you can either agree or disagree. What I don't want is, or disagree with profoundly, is folks who just say, no, but the most recent paper says it's this. So it's nothing to do with thought. There's no thought to it. No, like, okay, I've thought and considered this, and I agree or I disagree. It's just, well, that's what
the
it
most
says
recent
on
one.
Wikipedia, and it's like, that's a terrible argument.
Yeah, it's a good job.
Think about it. If you respond and say, okay, I disagree with your points A, B, and C.
Cool
then you
discussion.
Do what you want, man. That's even fine. If you say, no, I've thought about what you said and I just disagree, good for you. That's fine. I can live with. If you just say, oh, well, the most recent description is that. Okay, man.
That doesn't mean it's the best one.
That's the epitome
or the most accurate.
He must not be named problem. You know, where it's like, okay, you're only
it's this because I was the last one.
Is who published it most recently. Okay, cool.
Oh man,
what an asshole!
I can't find it. I can't find the picture.
No,
thought I'd find it. No, I was looking for the picture of the carpet we found, but
sorry, you guys actually got to touch the carpet you found. Mine was up in a tree, like everything else that I really wanted on this trip.
How dare you, Owen? We did not touch the carpet.
You're right. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
How
I
dare
apologize.
you accuse us of such things?
It's not pictures of us holding a black head. Like, I got you.
What are you talking about? We
Never
got
happened.
that in Crocosaurus Cove.
You're
I don't
right.
know what
You're
you
right.
mean.
You're right. Right. Sorry.
God damn it. What are we going to do with him?
No, I don't know why you keep sitting me in front of microphones. This is a horrible decision.
Yeah, this is, well, no, that's okay. All right. Very good. I don't know. Wow, we're almost 3 hours.
3 hours.
I guess we'll wrap it up. Owen, since the last couple weeks we've been unprepared for the closing, I have prepared tonight. Yes. Put a list together.
Yes.
So I'm just going to say website is MoreliaPythonRadio.com. YouTube, you're watching it now. Please subscribe and like. You can follow the MPR Network on Facebook or Instagram under MPR Network. If you want to email us, it's at info@MoreliaPythonRadio.com. For me, you can follow me at EB Morelia on Facebook or Instagram. Riley, you can follow Riley's Reptiles on Facebook and Instagram. Lucas, you can follow at Centralian Exotics at Facebook and Instagram. And Owen, you can follow at Rogue-Reptiles on Facebook or Instagram. Right?
It's Rogue _ on Instagram.
Oh,
I know. I'm sorry.
Damn it. All right. Teespring store is the MPR Network store, so you can check out there. And if you so choose, you want to support us, give us a shout. I gotta give a shout out to Dave Kendrick because Owen, I don't know if you remember him, Rob, but for people that have been doing carpets for a long time, there was a snake. Its name was Bumblebee Tuna. Yes,
Yeah.
Bumblebee Tuna. Which I remember Will Bird came on to like our 3rd episode, and he's like, "What kind of name is Bumblebee Tuna?" That's
Dude,
the
I just
dumbest
did
thing
that
I ever
recently,
heard.
and I feel like
I
an
was like-
idiot. Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, what's Madame Blueberry? I mean, come on,
Exactly.
What the
Yeah.
hell does that
I mean,
mean?"
lines were built off names back then, and it was.
It sounds like a strawberry shortcake doll. Like,
Yeah, I know, right?
Like,
And
oh,
yet,
I have Madame
why do-
Blueberry.
Why do you think it got shortened to MBB? And I love it because every once in a while I tell somebody like MBB stands for Madame Blueberry. Oh, like it's like
Yeah. So Dave reached out to us, and he's sort of I know he's in the Patreon, and
Yep.
It just any way he can support us, he's there, and that's awesome. So appreciate it. But
Yep.
yeah, we have the Patreon going, and we're looking at adding more things and stuff, and tying that in with carpets and coffee. We have some ideas with that. So stay tuned for that. As far as our podcast go, you can you can subscribe and share is basically the way to do it. We got Carpet Cliff Notes, Colubrid Corner, Student of the Serpent, which me and Rob got to get cracking on another episode of that.
What's up with that?
Listen, man, perfection is not overnight. You know what I mean?
How many books do you guys read when you do a Colubrid Corner?
I read
Go ahead,
nothing.
Owen. How many books?
I read nothing. I come on and I shoot from the hip, and then Rob yells at me later. So
yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. We're just trying to make it as detailed as possible. Sort of like the Ruffy's show on steroids. I had fun doing that. I like doing that. I like researching it. Anyway, so look forward to that. Carpets and Coffee. We usually do it live on this channel, on YouTube channel, every Monday. I think we do it 1 p.m. Eastern time, and what is it, 10 a.m. West Coast time, right?
It's annoying because I
Something
can't
like
come.
Yeah. That would be right.
Yeah.
That last one was really, really good. I know I told you in the message, but I thought that was excellent.
Awesome. There you go.
There
you go, Lucas.
The
Riley.
only point being that you do know about the land iguanas, the Isabella Island pink land iguanas, from Postma falling in the volcano and all that from Stolen World and what was that, mid 2000s and all that. So once I said it though, you're like, oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah. But watching it on that show is like, God, man, these poor mom iguanas gotta go down in this pit to lay their eggs in the volcano. That's dormant volcano, so it's the perfect temperature. But anyway, Carpets and Coffee. That's that. And if you liked Herp History, again, I'm going to be talking to him this weekend. We're going to be getting the dates together, but Richard Ross is going to be coming and chatting with us, which to me that's an honor to talk to that guy, because I mean, I can probably speak for the three of us to how many times we flipped through the Blue Bible. So
I read it front to back dozens of times, and very influential from the start and all this stuff. I was fortunate that a buddy of mine early on had the book, borrowed it out and all that, and it was, that's going to be super special.
Yeah.
So my copy's black. So
I'm gonna hold on. Let me. Yeah, Rob.
Gonna talk to Ron too, associated with that. So that'll be super.
That'll be cool.
Looking forward to that. So across the whole board, man.
Nice.
So that's the Blue Bible. Mine's kind of beat up and falling apart.
But that's the first. Well, it was that Krause's picture, right, on that front. That's the first captive bred Womas.
Yep.
Right, that then went to they made a trip, man. I mean, good for them.
See? See, mine's not blue.
Yours is black.
Yeah.
But it's a great book. Some of it's a little dated at now, again, to taxonomy, right? People write these books and taxonomy changes and everything, and people get so uptight about it. Then they're like, "Oh, this book is bullshit."
This thing it opens automatically to the white lip page because that's usually where I'm at. So
that's good.
Like it just kind of opened to that. It's just weird. So yeah.
I'll tell you what. That's the boa I like. This one right here.
Madagascar.
Yeah.
Madagascar ground bow.
Yeah.
Oh man, they are spectacular. If I kept a
Big
boa,
snakes,
that's what it
man.
would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah, they
Big
what like
chunky.
the size of like a big boa constrictor, like a big red tail, true red tail.
Probably smaller than that, but I mean,
A little bit
for
smaller.
yeah, smaller than that, but
Yeah.
very squarish, bread shaped. Solidly bread shaped.
Right. As far as natural history, the next episode that we're working on, sort of like what we did with the Ruffies show, is going to be blackheads.
Nice.
So that's cool. And then there's the Humans of Herpetoculture, which is Lucas's podcast, and he does it also live on his YouTube as well. So there you go. That's the lineup.
Is that its own feed, or what's the story with that one? Is it the same
That's
one?
its own
that was?
feed. Yeah, own feed. Yeah.
And it's the original feed, or it's a different feed than it was?
No, original feed. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just you and Nick at this point, or have I missed some?
Owen did it too.
Oh, no. You were on the show with it, but it's just those three. That's it, right?
Yes. Yeah. Currently. Okay. Yeah. We keep Lucas busy.
Yep. We don't let him do his own things. He's busy doing our things. So.
And so that's the lineup. And next episode of NPR is going to be Dr. Zach Loafman.
I'm excited. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
And, So I got a couple of topics to talk to him about. He is actually messaging me during the thing, but I thought that we could talk about inbreeding depression a bit more, snake digestion.
Nice.
Because I was thinking of that post that Matt Somerville put up with the I forget what species it was, but yeah. And it ate like 3 mice for the year, and it had all these fat bodies in it. So I was just curious of his take on snake diet and stuff like that.
We got to pick his brain about false water cobra too. Just do a little bit of that. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I need to know what I'm in for, now that I
know
them.
I don't always like to do back to back when he's been on other shows, because he's kind of been on other shows. But I heard when he was on Joe's show, he's about to go into a busy season. So I figured let's nail him down now and get the show done so that we're not waiting another 6 months or who knows how long it would be. But
we can always have him on again later.
No worries there.
What'd you say? Oh yeah, different topic.
Yeah, talking about different stuff. So
yeah, the guy's just tons of info, man. Like and he says it in a way. I was telling Rob, he talks in a way. Maybe it's because I need a little help or whatever. I don't know, but he talks in a way that he sort of talks it in layman's terms, So
cool.
I can't tell if you're frozen, Owen. Or
I'm not. I'm just listening. I'm sorry. Would you prefer me to talk every 5 seconds?
You're just like.
I can do nothing right.
No, you can. You can do many things right.
Stupid. I quit.
Well, we're not used to seeing each other.
I know, exactly. I mean, come on.
So you probably looked at that way all the time, but I apologize, Owen. Back on track. That's all I got. And then Rob, your High Plains Herp on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram. Yeah, that's probably the best way or whatever. So no worries.
Cool. And then rhinorats.com, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, it still exists. It's a thing, but I need to.
In theory, it's there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still in the process of the update. That's going to.
I know you're working on it.
Pictures and all that stuff. So yeah, it's been backburnered, but hey, at some point, hopefully, certainly I paid for it. So there's that.
But people can reach you anyway, so it's not really like it's not crucial. So
yeah, that's not necessarily the way to contact me. So.
Gotcha. Cool.
Okay, and I guess that's it. So thanks for tuning in. I guess we'll see you Monday for Carpets and Coffee, and
Are you going to do the whole thing, or do you
No,
want me to?
no,
Okay,
I can't do the whole thing.
I mean, I just thought you're taking all my parts. I see it, phasing me out. I got it.
No. Not at all. I would much
All right.
rather you read the whole entire thing. To be
Well, then
honest
next
with you,
time send
but,
it to me, and I shall do the
Very good.
All right. Anyway,
We're like married couple, man. We're
It's
like
not-
fighting
no,
like
hey,
a married. I fight with you more than I fight with my real wife.
Trying to end the show.
Not wrong. He's not wrong.
Oh, good God.
All right. All right. So we'll say thanks to everybody for listening, and we'll catch everybody back here next week for some more Morelia Python Radio. Good night.
All right. See you guys.
Yeah. Quick, get out of here.
Yes.